our own audio?
No, you don't have to record your own. And this is why I was about to say, because Restream, it'll start recording whenever you like join. But since the Bergs are joining later, the recording will be off. And just so that I can place it well, if we all clap together, then I can place theirs in a line and sync with ours. Or if one of us drops out, then that's just, I mean, that's a different story. But that's why I'm doing that. Everybody got that clear as mud? Good. All right, did that. No hard stop time. Everyone has their classic maker and tragic maker.
Oh, behave.
I'm seeing nods. Okay, good. You got that, Paul. Oh, who all has a spiritual speculation topic?
Oh, that's Bruce Wayne calling. He owes me money.
I haven't turned my phone to airplane mode yet. Sorry.
I do.
So raise your hand or thumbs up if you have a spiritual speculation topic. Paul, Celeste, kind of. Ashley, kind of. Okay.
I could make one up. I mean, it's a very spiritual movie.
Here's one. Were the Crusades a good idea or a bad idea? Discuss.
Well, the last Crusade was a good idea. But, okay. So.
Was it the last, though?
Technically, no. And anytime someone says good idea, bad idea, I just think of that bit on the Animaniacs.
Yeah.
With the skeleton guy. Good idea. All the bad ideas were just like, okay now.
Oh my! So we have someone else. Oh, we have both of them.
I was.
Look at that.
Danae's waiting, and so is
Danae
Travis.
and Travis. Hello, guys.
I was just like watching you guys. I'm like, nobody can see me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't hear the ding come in before, or maybe that. Okay. Have you been waiting for a long time today?
3 minutes.
Okay.
Oh,
we literally down
sorry.
to the minute got our kids to bed.
Oh wow! Good job.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the 3 minutes of silence.
Well, we were listening to you, so.
So then the answer is no.
So. No. Okay. Let's see. So I hear Danae. Travis, can you talk? Or actually, pause. Don't talk yet. Danae, talk again so I can see your levels.
Hello. This is my headset. We decided to call in separately for the benefit of your audio.
Thank you. Can
You're
you
welcome.
raise your gain at all, or I don't know if you're able to do that with your headset, or you could maybe put it closer to your mouth. That might be another option.
How's that? Is that any better?
Yes, that looks better, I think.
Okay.
Travis, could you do the same thing? Just talk a little bit. Tell me about your day, what have you.
Oh yeah, so it was a crazy day. Running around, putting out fires. Had to hide in a fireplace. Made it okay. It was
Okay.
pretty garbled.
So
Very
pause.
garbled.
Pause. Is it sounds distorted on my end. I don't know if any of you are hearing that as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Choppy.
Is
You
it
got
a
the
wireless headset or? And if so,
It's
can you
his
connect
laptop.
it? Oh, it's his laptop.
He's been troubleshooting this issue. He's gonna try.
Okay.
He'll try a different headset.
Okay. Sorry, Travis.
At least it's a known issue.
Yeah.
Sorry, Francis.
See, that sounded fine.
Oh yeah,
you're
it comes
sorry.
and goes. Sometimes it's fine, and then sometimes it's
Stacey.
terrible.
Gotcha. Aaron, are you the one who's like shuffling through paper or the candy or something? Is that what
I
I'm
will
hearing?
not do that anymore.
No,
Except
no,
for these 2 Starbursts that I'm opening.
The real culprit.
I'm like a thousand Starbursts.
Man, am I glad I finished my pudding.
Oh my word.
Francisco, did you need to check my levels still?
Oh, I thought I did already. Yeah, go ahead, LJ.
Okay. So I stayed up till 3 a.m. writing the
Yeah, that's
review
good.
for
Thank you.
Spider-Man.
You're good.
Oh my god.
3 a.m. for Spider-Man? Oh my gosh.
3 a.m.
Hopefully it was
It's-
worth it.
It was hard writing a review without spoilers. So
Yeah.
that was quite a
yeah.
task.
That's what people have been saying. Staying away from all that stuff.
Let's see. I think Danae and Travis, do you know Aaron, obviously. Did you know LJ, Celeste, and Ashley?
Yeah, I think I know all of you. I know all of you a little bit.
You know
too,
all of
as
us.
well.
Raise your hand if you don't know someone. How about that? Raise your hand if you don't know someone.
I don't know if
even
I know Ashley. Oh,
Okay.
raise your hand.
All right.
I know
Celeste,
of
who do
people.
you-
I know of.
Okay. Let's start reverse alphabetical for whatever reason. Celeste, Who do
Yeah.
you not know?
The Bergs.
Oh, the Bergs. Okay. So, Celeste, this is Danae and Travis. They both go to my church. They've been on the podcast enough that they're both an officer and a chief. So, that's, and then,
Hey, I have a
Danae
question for the Bergs. Was one of them responsible for the Titanic sinking?
Yes.
Okay. I
was
won't
their
ask her,
grandmother.
though.
That was their grandmother.
Oh.
Grandmother Berg.
How do I comment? I want to comment. Over
You
here
have to go
in
on
the
to
little chat.
Twitch. Or
well, is there a way to do it from Restream? I don't know. I mean,
No,
I
you-
know I am. I'm
No, you
able to,
can't.
but-
You have to log into Twitch separately.
That's okay. That's
It says, do you have a Restream account?
so. If you do have one, I think you can do it that way. But otherwise, yes, you'll have to have like Twitch open on another window in order to chat
Hold
with
let-
everyone else.
Let's see.
But hello, Geeks Under Grace, and I think that's Neko, Sean.
Geeks Under Grace is me.
What? Oh my gosh! Hey,
Only
Star Fox.
is
Hey.
Geeks
He's
Under
blaming me
Grace.
for
Bless you, sis.
something. I'm being blamed for something again.
everything.
Ugh.
Okay, so Celeste. Oh, so you didn't know the Bergs. Danae and Travis. I assume you don't know Celeste. Celeste is part of Geek Devotions. They're,
Yeah.
She's the
online
red shirt who
ministry.
hopefully will make it to the end of the podcast.
Yes,
There's a lot of
exactly.
fire. I don't know.
You never know.
And then Ashley, do you know everyone or you don't know everyone?
I know of everyone.
Oh, okay. So
I know
we
of
introduced you to
everyone.
Aaron already. I think you know Celeste and LJ. So Danae and
Yes.
Travis,
Do you know
Ashley,
each other,
she's
Ashley?
a
Hello.
fan of the podcast, been on it several times before. And then Danae and Travis, she go to my church. They also have been on it before. I think now we're all introduced, but who's this guy next to me right there?
Someone just turned on a fan.
It
or
does
vacuum.
sound like someone
Not
turned on a-
I.
Oh no, that's my laptop.
Oh gosh.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
That does
Oh,
sound
that's
like
the
my
fan
work
of your laptop.
for my 14.
Then you know
Oh.
what? Okay, here's what I'd like. So that, and this will be very helpful to me later on. So I'm going to count to 3. We're all going to clap on 3. On 3, we're going to clap.
So not 1, 2, 3, clap. It's 1, 2, clap.
Exactly.
On
1, 2,
One, two,
And then
three, go.
after that, just be quiet. I'll count like for 10 seconds, just quiet. That way I can use that as your room noise sound so I can negate that from the rest of your recording. All right? So here we go. We're going to clap on 3. Hello, Geek Devotions. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
That was great. Okay. So quiet for 10 seconds.
Quiet.
Why'd you do that? Okay, sure, that was enough time, but you didn't follow the rules, Paul.
He doesn't
my
though. You should know this by now.
That's why he's the
I'm
master
sorry.
interrupter.
Exactly. You said 10 seconds of interrupted silence, and he's like, nope, not gonna play.
You know what?
I heard
I heard-
quiet, so I delivered.
I heard 10 seconds of clapping. So
No.
I was like, wait, what?
Okay. Barbara, hello. Let's see. Thank you all for being here. I think we're going to get started, but I'm going to ask Paul to pray over us before we actually get going here.
Okay. Lord, thank you so much for tonight, for this time that you have made. I pray that everything goes well. There's no technical problems, especially from Travis's laptop. Not to name any names, but I pray that you would be glorified in the end and that we have a great, memorable time. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Okay. So here's where. Oh, Danae and Travis, do you have a hard stop time? Danae and Travis, can you hear us? Can anyone hear me, or is
Yes,
no one
I
able
can
to
hear
me?
you.
People
Okay.
can hear you. People can hear you, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe they're still being quiet.
Yeah.
The 10 seconds is over. Danae, Travis, hello.
I'm
Okay,
good.
you can. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, everyone. So
says no
do you,
Ednas,
Danae and Travis,
there will
do you have a
be.
hard stop time? Apparently, I have to go for a second to say goodnight. So
Did it? I'm fine.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
I mean,
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm still here if you can hear me.
Yeah, I
Travis,
can
with
hear
their
you.
internet
Only
stuff?
Travis. I'm sorry, we're having all of the issues between the two of us. So
Oh,
it happens.
bummer.
It's okay. Are you playing music?
Nope.
Okay, so it's not all. You're not having all the issues then.
Okay, great. And
Because somebody's
children are
playing
still
music.
asleep. Well,
Well,
one of
that's-
them is.
That's
That's good.
on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Just curious, how many of them do you have?
Two. We have two.
Okay. Okay.
The 8-month-old is asleep, which is the important one.
Yeah.
The other one
Yes.
can fall asleep whenever he wants.
Nice. I wish
He's
I could.
contained.
Nice. All right, Lord, let there not be any drama issues either, besides technical.
Yes.
So,
Hashtag all the issues. Jeez,
Yes.
Papa.
yes.
Travis says, "Let me in. Let me in."
Oh well, if you've ever watched the operator, do you ever watch The Matrix? Who's calling for the operator? The operator is busy right now. What's that? He's reached a busy signal.
Yep.
Gonna have to wait for it.
The
Wait
number
for
you
it.
have is not available
There he
at
is.
the moment, nor have they set up their voicemail message.
Welcome back, Travis.
You're
Oh,
muted
too bad we
still.
can't
This
hear
is
you.
so fun for me too. I can
Because
just
you can hear
him.
him twice, can't you?
Yeah. Well, I can't hear. I
my.
only hear him once when he's muted.
Probably like, darn it.
Dang it.
Oh,
This was my daughter doing makeup earlier.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so precious. Oh,
Nice.
the girl applies makeup better than I do. That's why I don't really wear it.
So, Danae and Travis, Francisco was asking if you have a hard stop time.
We don't.
Okay.
We just had a hard start time. So
Hard time starting, brother.
Yes.
Hello, laptop.
Oh, so you two get to have your own conversations without us. Nice.
oh yeah, it's great. This
I
is
was
like
about
us all day at work. We sit right next to each other. We work for different companies, so
Oh, how
it's
fun.
very collaborative.
If I was about to say it might be easier with the technical problems to share a mic, but if that's not an option, that's fine too.
Maybe, yeah. That's what my initial suggestion was, and this was Travis's idea. So I'm gonna let him figure this out. My headset is really good, and his is not. So
Yeah, we can't hear you, Travis. So yeah.
he knows.
But thanks for being
I
the
know.
moral
I was
support here.
I was muted
Oh, okay.
to avoid the echo.
Welcome, Lonesome Lenny. We haven't officially started yet, but Francisco's waving at you, so that should count for something. And when he's off the phone, we're still not ready because I have a couple questions on how we're going to roll with this. Because his notes to me don't make sense. So, sorry.
Also, I think you were asking earlier who had spiritual questions, and I don't think
Yes.
Travis or I prepared one. So hopefully
Okay,
you
so
have
we're going to
enough other
discuss.
volunteers.
We're going to discuss the Crusades and whether you think they were a good idea or a bad idea.
Mm,
No,
okay.
I'm joking. But if,
Are you sure?
no, I'm not sure. But
No. I think
we-
there's at least a full idea between all of us.
probably,
That
we could
is
probably
definitely a
represent the
rant.
whole spectrum between all of us.
I had a
That is-
thought, but it's not a question.
Oh, that could spark.
Nah, I don't know.
No, sometimes
Oh.
the comments are like little nuggets of gold. Like, yeah, that's good to remember.
A nugget, or is it a flake of gold? Like, what size are we talking?
Depends on the comment.
That's better. The audio's better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, does that sound better? Less garbled?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds a lot better. Yeah.
So in case anyone's curious, I turned the headphones back on, but turned the auto noise canceling off.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because the gremlins in my computer are universal, and that's what happens.
Very good.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
All right, Bobo, this is for you.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately. Who is your daddy, and what does he do? Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
So somebody asked that of Indiana Jones, and this movie came out.
Indeed.
Still interesting that Connery is only 12 years older than he was only 12 years older than Ford.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's weird, but yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That is weird.
And he's still only 12 years older.
Yeah, and he initially yes, because he passed. And he initially was like, "No, I'm not going to do it," but
Right. But I guess they offered him money, and he's like, "Okay."
yeah.
I mean,
Money.
I will do a lot of things for money.
I'll work for money. Sending out like 700 plus gift cards in a single day.
Yeah. Well, the fact that we're all here shows that we're willing to do a lot for no money.
True.
Exactly.
Hey, Francisco, there are moments of silence and gaps here that are slow and boring. Let's get this show on the road.
But we're going to watch them burning
clap
alive
again?
forever and ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to clap again.
Maybe it'll summon the captain.
The best part was when we did that clap, literally on the count of 3, the battery in my headset died. So I thought everyone was just literally sitting there silently. And I was like, wow, this is so coordinated. And then I was like, oh no, there's just no audio because it abruptly died. So it was super funny when I realized it.
That's amazing.
Clapping summoned me back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yay.
good. There was no
Hello,
one steering
What
this
did you
ship.
believe?
Nah.
Hello, Barry and Lonesome and everyone and David, everyone else who came in. All glad you're here. We're about to start actually doing the podcast, but we won't be having much interaction during the recording. But glad you're all here, and hopefully you enjoy the.
E-Money said you took too long. She's tired of you wasting her time, so she's out.
I mean that checks out. Is she actually just finding something else, Paul?
I don't know. You can ask her.
Aaron, Paul is making wild accusations about you.
You'll have to re-listen to see what they are. The life.
No.
Did I just?
He didn't. He just said you're like, oh, Francisco, take too long. I'm out.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh no,
So-
my phone looked like it was gonna die.
Okay. Let me
gonna
just
add
double
my
check that you
notes.
can hear this.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So thumbs up if you are ready to roll with the actual show.
No, Francisco.
You said
Oh,
thumbs, so here's both of them.
We have a couple. I have a couple
good listening.
questions for you regarding the notes.
Oh, okay.
They're highlighted in orange. There's in
Okay.
two places.
I'm looking. Okay. Why two outros?
Yeah, you have.
That's where I was trying to remake it. So just do the old one that says outro, not the new outro.
Oh, that's where. All right, so I have to move. Can I just delete the middle one then?
Sure, yeah. Do whatever
All
you need.
right, but the second question is in the second outro.
Okay. All right. Which we're not using. Why would that be postponed?
Because they don't have a start date. That might be a month later. I don't know.
I thought they were fine with the day we chose, no?
You know, because they're moving.
Oh, that's right. Okay, then I'll just say the next episode. I won't
Yeah.
say thank you. Thank you for being on top of that, Paul.
Yeah,
Awesome EXO award goes to you.
we'll see.
She's like, we're just getting started.
Yeah. All right. Was there anything else, Paul, or were you good?
No, that was it. We're good.
All right. One more time, thumbs up if you're ready.
Hold on, I have to look at the script, get my vocals ready.
I see everyone but Paul.
Mommy
So
made
once
me mash my
once
M&M.
Paul is ready, we'll go.
Smash M&M sounds
Okay.
sad.
I like the variety of the thumbs. This is great.
Absolutely. La, 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 la. Let me know when you're ready, Paul.
I
you
had
are
my
ready. Okay.
thumbs up.
Oh, I didn't see them. I was focused on
They
other
were talking
things.
to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to have thumb war? Here we
1,
go.
2, 3, 4. I declare some more.
Exactly.
There
Okay.
is something.
All right. Well, then I'll count to 5. Then, Paul, you start us off. In 5, 4, 3.
These people are trying to listen to us.
I know, Paul.
Might be a new experience for them.
Happens to them all the time. If they listen to this dang it,
Good. I didn't like that take anyway.
to this episode, if they listen,
These people
if
are
they
trying to listen to us. I know, Dad. Might be a new experience for them.
If they listen,
Happens to them all the
retro-
time. If they listen to the retro room. Okay, got it.
Are you giving me like coaching lessons right now?
No, I'm giving myself.
Oh, okay.
Well, hello. Sorry. It's just me and the dog. My wife's out watching Spider-Man 3 right now, so he's on edge. Hold on, let me take just a moment.
Yeah.
The second Spider-Man 3.
Yes, Ben.
So does that?
I was gonna
count
say,
as an
the
enema?
Tobey Maguire one.
Oh no.
Emo Spider-Man.
Well, this one doesn't technically have a 3. They all have their own distinct names, unlike the Maguire iterations.
There's
Because
the
those-
meme that's like, do I need to watch 1, 2, and then 3, then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2
Before I watch 3.
before I watch the 3?
That feels like that would be painfully unnecessary, but I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't been in a movie theater since 2019.
Whoa.
If the rumors are true, it actually might be necessary.
Oh, don't tell me
man.
that. I've seen them all. It's just been a long time.
I mean, it'll work.
No comment.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
I'll
Ready,
just have
Paul?
to read your spoiler-free review.
Exactly.
Excellent.
All right.
Wait
Here we
for
go.
it.
Is it my turn?
Whenever you're ready, Paul.
All right. These people are trying to listen to us.
I know, Paul.
Might be a new experience for them.
Happens to them all the time. If they listen to this, dang it, Francisco, not to this episode. If they listen, if they
Just
listen,
do your last line. Just
if they
do that one.
listen, if they listen to the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitor fluxing crew to stations. Scanning for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, 1989. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the Chalice of Christ holder, master interrupter powers.
If you are the captain, then I am Mickey Mouse.
Aren't you doing the sound effect?
Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
I don't. Where did that sound effect go? I had it right here. Sorry. Just
There you
go
go.
on. Yeah.
How dare he? And along with Paul. Oh, wait. Was that the sound effect? Or am I supposed to say that? This is a tip-top operation we're running here.
It's not rehearsed.
There's the sound.
Delay.
And along with Paul, we have a full crew complement to cover the last of our 3 indie Christmas episodes.
Woohoo!
For Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, we welcome back aboard in engineering, keeping the ship running, is Engineering Officer Danae Berg.
Hello.
Hello, Danae. And Chief Engineer Travis Berg.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
And from Ship's Records, we have back Historian Officer Celeste Mora.
Hello.
Hello, Celeste. And Chief Information Tech Specialist LJ Lowry.
Yo.
Yo, yo. And finally, keeping the pod's administration ship shape, we have back Communications Chief Aaron Wallace
Hey.
and Chief Yeoman Ashley Cronenbitter.
Aloha.
Oh, aloha. This doesn't take place in Hawaii. Now that
Why
you have
not? We have listeners there.
the movie doesn't take place in Hawaii, Paul.
Oh,
It
sorry.
means hello. That's all
And
that matters.
goodbye.
Now that we have a flyby, not so quick, of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of production specs for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? And before you do that, I do want to say thank you, everyone who came on board the pod for this outing. It's awesome to have you all back.
Yes. And I'll go ahead.
Yes, go ahead,
Indiana
Paul.
Jones and the Last Crusade was released May 24th in 1989 and runs 7 minutes over the 2-hour mark. It's rated PG-13 for some reason. You'd think that the Temple of Doom would be PG-13 and this would be PG, but no, they flipped it. Anyway, it's
And
directed
honestly, by today's standards, this just feels PG.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm surprised. This is PG-13. Maybe it's the skeleton dude at the end. I don't know.
Maybe, yes.
It's directed by Steven Spielberg, if you ever heard of that guy.
What?
And it was written, but here's two people you've never heard of. Jeff Boehm and Menno Majel. I don't even know how to speak English. I don't know. Menno Majels? I don't know. Sorry.
Mayhes, maybe?
Menno. Anyway, lead stars being Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, and Allison Doody. And the music was composed by, of course, none other than the great John Williams. So, my question for you right now is, are you all ready for the box office trivia?
I'm ready. Everyone else ready? I'm seeing nods.
Let's go.
Yep.
And everyone watching live, feel free to guess as well. Paul, go for it.
Okay, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was made for about $48 million and earned almost 10 times that at about $475 million at the box office.
Gosh, holy crap.
So given this and the fact that it was released theatrically in 1989, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the other movies released theatrically in 1989? We'll go for the top 50.
Top 50. All right. So, LJ, what's your guess?
I'm gonna go. I don't know off the top of my head what other movies have been at the time, so I'll say number 2.
2. Aaron?
I'll go 5.
5. Ashley?
Gosh, those were both my answers. I'm just gonna say 4.
4. Okay.
$1.
Price is right, Aaron. All right.
$1.
Exactly. Danae?
3. I don't know.
We're gonna round out the top 5 at this rate.
Let's
Celeste?
do it, guys.
42.
There you go.
There you
Going
go.
down. Travis?
Was this in 1989 or has this been adjusted for inflation?
Not adjusted.
Okay, 2.
Okay. So you and LJ both guessed 2. And then I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for number 1. Let's just go for number 1.
All right.
I know there are lots of awesome movies in 1989, but here we go.
Just remember, this is 1989. Oh, go ahead.
Before,
You're gonna read the chat?
read chat. So we have Dale guesses 5 as well, along with Aaron. And Star Fox guesses 8. Stacy 1 with me. And then Dale says he thought Batman, I think Batman Return, the original Batman was number 1. But Paul?
Yeah,
What
this
was-
is the same year as Batman, which if you were alive back then, you can remember the Batmania that swept the nation.
Batman did come to mind. That was the only one I knew for sure. That was like, okay, that one had to be there.
Batman made the most domestically, but counting international, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came in at number 1.
Wow.
That was so close.
Well done.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. I work hard at these guesses. I do so.
Go by process of elimination.
Yeah.
No.
But I was rooting for 42.
Like, what would the other 41 be?
Well,
Lots
thank you
of
for
movies
those.
came out.
Yeah, pretty
Lots
much.
of movies.
Thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert. Alert. Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
On Wednesday, May 24th, Paramount Pictures invites you to have the adventure of your life. Keeping up with the Joneses. Are you crazy? Don't go between them! Go between them! Are you crazy? Harrison Ford. Sean Connery.
You call this archaeology?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Rated PG-13. Starts Wednesday, May 24th at theaters everywhere.
At theaters everywhere, but is our memories scattered everywhere, or are they concise? Yes. Let's find out in our memory mind meld synopsis for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Adolescent, not young, Indiana Jones finds himself on a scouting trip gone awry that leads to his iconic fear of snakes and the acquisition of his trademark hat. It belongs in a museum, not a circus train. Mysteries abound in the sewers that culminate into a James Bond-esque boat chase. From Venice to Castle Bruja, nay! Indy looks for and finds a father using James Bond's journal, where he reunites with the dear old dad, and they banter their way through battling Nazis to get to the Holy Grail. Also, they eat chilled monkey brains. What the devil? Straight from the monkey's head, and fulfill every Hitler fanboy's dream by getting his autograph. Wow. Plus, add in an epic chase scene with a horse and a hat and a World War I tank. Finally, James Bond gets to die another day thanks to his son, who chose wisely. Then the now ice-powered Elsa.
Non-iced.
The non-ice-powered Elsa. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Could simply not let it go with regards to the Grail, and finds herself falling to her doom. Indy and company make it away and ride off into the sunset empty-handed. I'm not sure some of that made sense, but of course some of it was deceptive. There's no Elsa in this movie. Whatever. I mean, there was.
But there wasn't. Let it go. She couldn't let it go. She couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
You know who else can't let it go?
It was funny.
It was funny. I liked it.
Anyway, based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what rating did they lead you to predict for this film before rewatching it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? I'm going to go in the reverse order from before. Paul, what was your prediction?
I predicted classic.
Classic. Travis?
Classic.
Classic. Celeste?
Classic.
I'm sensing a theme. Danae?
Classic.
Classic. Ashley?
Classic.
Aaron?
Classic.
And LJ?
Same.
Same. And for me, tragic. No, classic. It was a predicted classic for me as well. And it'll be interesting to see if those predictions came true. That's going to be quite the accomplishment if they do. But first, let's get into our discussion of the things we like most about Indiana Jones. We're going to spin up pretty much just our classic makers since we have all of you here. But if anyone has mentioned one that someone else liked, feel free to add on. But just for consistency.
Best 3.
Or best 8, because there's 8 of us. All right, so let's start with LJ first. What is your classic maker for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
My classic maker was the set pieces, like especially like the chase scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I've made this comparison the other two movies. It's just fascinating to see where, like, me being a gamer, to see like how these movies have been adapted and scenes like this have been utilized today, and these movies inspired a lot. So it's like the motorcycle chase scene, the boat scene, like there's just so many of those epic moments in here that it really feels on a grander scale than the previous movies, and I really appreciate that about this movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did the set pieces or a particular set piece make anyone else's classic maker? Well, in that case, let's go on to Aaron. What was your classic?
I liked it too.
LJ, you are just the only one who liked them.
No,
one else liked
they're
them.
great.
Great.
Yeah, that was mine too.
Oh, really, Travis? Yours was.
Well, I'll come up with a different one. I don't want it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Completely agree. Everything was just wonderful.
Aaron, what was your classic maker?
Well, this movie has a lot of sentimental value for me. So,
Oh, really?
Yes. So I remember going to the theater as a
Wait,
kid and watching
Is
it.
Harrison Ford your grandfather?
No, I
Oh.
remember going to the theater as a family to see it as a kid.
Fun.
And then my husband and I, our relationship technically started during this movie.
Oh, really?
So, yes. So I have a lot of sentimental. So it's a classic for very personal reasons. However,
You
just
knew each other
according-
back in 1989?
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Oh.
No, we were watching it in college and he had to pause the
Oh.
movie at the part where Indy's like hanging from the tank. And
Oh,
he's like,
okay.
I just really like you a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
That's
really
awesome.
sweet. It was really sweet. But anyway, aside from my personal sentimental, things with it, my classic maker was the banter and the chemistry between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery.
Yes.
So good.
Their chemistry was so good, and I feel like when you get people that can play off of each other like that, and
Oh yeah.
not only were they funny, they got the emotional stuff right too. I feel
Yeah.
like they kind of nailed the father-son complicated relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for me, those two made this movie.
Yeah. And definitely the arc that they go on and going from this very detached to being super connected by the end and really caring
Mhm.
about what happened to the other. I think, yeah, that definitely was, I could see that being sentimental in that way, regardless of the personal stuff, which is still awesome. But
It's so weird to me how different they are, those
Mhm.
characters are, but how well they connect.
Yes,
I want to
yes.
say it's like oil and water, but it's not. They're just so. I
Oil
don't
and
know.
vinegar?
I don't know, but it's different, and I love it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's
like
so
the
funny
immoral
to
like
me
when they realize.
how it's so funny to me how Sean Connery calls him Junior, and you really truly believe from Harrison Ford that he hates it.
yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was like, I was going to add on because that was one of the things that I loved most about it too,
Mhm,
Aaron.
mhm.
And I love the progression of their kind of like redemptive relationship till at the
Yes.
very end. The only time he ever calls him Indiana is when he's helping save him, and
Uh-huh.
like that like culmination of like you have to let it go, and that's like his way to get his attention. He only calls him Junior till he finally calls him Indiana, and that was kind of like the end of
Indiana was the dog's name.
resolution. I love
Exactly.
that.
Yes.
Exactly.
The dog. You were named after the dog.
Yes.
That was so good.
So that moment is also connected to my classic maker, but my classic maker is actually a different character, and that's Elsa. And it's mainly the main reason I thought Elsa was so good in this film, and typically in the past I've just thought of her as like one of the bad guys, but there's so much depth I noticed in this
Yeah.
viewing that she wasn't. I mean, she wasn't full on a Nazi. She wasn't a full on like a good guy just out for getting things into museums. She had her own self interest, but she definitely played that line of like not wanting anything bad to happen to Indy, but also wanting to get the Grail herself. And just this really, I really like the dimensions to her of both caringness and also covetousness, and also I thought her death was just so impactful, and it really punctuated Indy's choice to not go after the Grail, and I feel like it almost unlocked his ability to listen to his dad in that moment where he says Indiana, because otherwise he may just have gotten as caught up with getting the Grail. And I love that we were able to see, and that's also another completion of his arc, is that in the beginning he's like 30 years trying to get this Cross of Coronado. He never lets it go, and then this one he's finally able to let that the Grail go.
He was gonna die.
What?
I said, well, he was gonna die.
Like
Okay,
he wasn't going
but
to die on the boat, though.
yeah, he could
No,
have died
he was
then.
just punched
There,
around.
there was a chance of that, and I mean, there is a lesson in learning how to let things go that Elsa clearly didn't learn.
Exactly. Yes. But so Elsa from Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, not Frozen, was my classic maker for this film. Let's go. Were there anyone else? Were there? Let me actually pivot to Travis. Travis, was there a character that made your classic maker, or was something else something that you really enjoyed?
So I think my classic maker is the opening sequence, just like the scenery, the grandness of the scout trip, and then finding the cross, the chase on the circus train, and the music with that scene, especially. We were at a John Williams concert where they showed that clip unscored, and then he added the music in too. So it was just like extra special for that reason. But just that whole part of it, and then with it culminating with him getting the cross back on the boat, just felt like just such a strong experience.
Yeah,
I wish the show was that good, but we'll get to that later.
Right? Oh my gosh, I was about to say.
Well, and River Phoenix as young Indy, he absolutely nailed that.
Absolutely.
And I read that to prepare for the role, he didn't watch the Indiana Jones movies. He just based it off of Harrison Ford himself.
Nice.
And I mean, it's like, dude, he would have said the line that way.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have.
So good. If only he was around for the show.
I
know. Let's go. Wow.
Startled me.
Let's go to Danae next. Was River Phoenix someone you liked, or something else that really?
Well, it was a tie for me, but since we've kind of already covered the relationship arc of Indiana and his dad, no surprise, I will go with the score. I always pick the score when it's John Williams, but this Indiana Jones score in particular is by far my favorite. Like there's certain like themes and like motifs that I'm just like, oh, it's not even like the main iconic portion, but there's just some really, really beautiful pieces that are very recognizable beyond just the intro sequence. I love this score.
Yeah, the Grail theme, the dun, 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 dun. That's the one I always hum. And when I hum Indy, I don't usually hum the main thing. I hum the Grail motif or theme. So totally agree with you.
And there's a really good one too. It's kind of like I feel like I'm gonna butcher it if I try to hum it. But it's kind of like a high pitched, like fluty one when they're doing something like adventure. It's like a perky, adventurous sounding one, like da 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 da.
Oh yes, that's so good too. Yes,
that's one of my favorite ones. So it's like when they're like escaping from different places, and you kind of like, oh, okay, this is like an adventure, and it's not scary running away from the Nazis. Like,
it's a very like playful musical theme, which I feel is very Indiana Jones. These movies are very playful, and so it's a perfect matching of music to what's going on on the screen.
Absolutely. I'm curious, since we're talking about music right now, did any of you catch, and I didn't catch this is just something I read on trivia, it could be wrong, that toward the beginning when India is taken by what's his name, Donovan, the guy that we don't know he's a Nazi at first.
Donovan,
Donovan. When Donovan's wife, they're in his study looking at the plaque and
drinking the glasses of champagne, or
So when the wife opens the door to say you're ignoring your guests, apparently you can hear the piano player playing the Imperial March theme.
What?
Have you caught that?
He was in Star Wars. He was in Star Wars.
Yes,
I read
exactly.
that just before that scene, and I tried to listen, and I couldn't hear it.
Okay.
It was very muddled by the dialogue and everything, and so I felt very gypped.
Yeah, right? That should have been much more there if they're going to do it. But.
Subtlety. Okay. It's all about the subtlety.
Exactly. Ashley, what wasn't so subtle for you, and in fact, it made your classic maker, or unless it was the subtlety?
Well, no, it wasn't the subtlety. And a lot of things that were up on the top of my list were already mentioned by other people. But I'm gonna say that the humor in this film, it was so incredibly well timed,
Yeah.
and the writing was just so incredibly well done. I can't tell you how many times I caught myself laughing, whereas seeing the other Indiana Jones movies, they were just so serious, or it was just like a high octane ride like Temple of Doom. This one, it gave you time to actually laugh. And I was thinking about how when they were getting on the Zeppelin, and he's like, tickets. And he throws the guy overboard. He's like, he didn't have a ticket.
Yes.
I thought I've caught myself just laughing out loud when that happens. When he went to the castle to rescue his father, and he's like speaking in a Scottish accent, and it just felt like he had so much
The tapestries.
Connery. And it was just so ridiculous. I'm like, wow. And then there was actually something that I read that Sean Connery actually ad-libbed a line about Elsa. She talks in her sleep. And
Oh,
apparently
really?
it was ad-libbed, and apparently it was so funny to the cast and crew that they actually kept it in. And when he said
That's
that,
awesome.
I caught myself laughing just because he just said it so matter-of-factly.
Yes.
And I think of when they're running, it's a new experience for me. And just the way that the writing was, it was just so incredibly well timed. And then in the end, we named the dog Indiana. And I caught myself laughing.
Those one-liners are great.
Yeah,
Yes,
those
they
one-liners are so good. And I'm like, if for an action film, for it to just fit and not like detract from everything that's going on, just felt so wonderful.
I think we can all agree that this Grail movie is probably the most quotable of all Grail movies. Blows every other Grail movie out of the water. I think I'm hearing laughter, which means agreement. I appreciate it.
Hey, Francisco.
Yes.
You make me sad.
Good for you, Paul.
It is the most quotable Grail movie that has a tank in it.
And throwing people off of a Zeppelin because they didn't have a ticket. And for dogs named Indiana. Yes.
All right, guys. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say this
I
sounds
read
like a fire you don't wanna
about
start.
that scene when they were on the Zeppelin that it was an incredibly hot day.
Oh.
Oh yes.
And that Harrison Ford and Sean Connery weren't wearing pants.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you,
Wow.
IMDb.
Wow.
Yes.
They weren't wearing pants.
That's
You're like,
amazing.
where's the behind the scenes footage? That's awesome.
Paul, I hope you're wearing pants. What is your classic maker?
Well, that's for me to know and you to never find out. But I'll share my classic maker with you.
Oh, good. Okay.
I know we've talked a lot about the dad, and I just want to go hone in on that a little bit more. Indiana Jones, the character, is one of my all-time favorite characters in
Cinema?
I was about to say fiction.
Oh, okay.
So-
Wow. All of fiction.
So, but the introduction of his dad could have been very like throwaway, like not very meaningful, but the way they did it with Sean Connery and the whole it was so good that it's basically the concept of the dad and how they did it is my classic maker. And then to have them, as you were saying, this redemption at the end, they're riding off into the sunset, and I know one of the memories said empty-handed, but they had each other, and that scene, I don't know how they wrote it in such a way that it made it seem more powerful, I guess.
Emotionally powerful for sure.
Them to ride off together, with their friends and everything. Like I didn't feel they left empty. Well, they didn't have the Grail, but they still had each other, and somehow that was more. And just how they were able to do that is amazing to me.
Yeah, totally.
I love how they built up his appearance too. Like it was a while before we got to see him, and you just kind of got these little tidbits, and then it's like, oh, here he is now. Like, it was an awesome reveal.
And Sean Connery did an amazing job.
Yes, he did. Junior.
Well, so now we've pretty much taken everything. So Celeste, do you have a classic maker left?
I do.
Unique? Oh wow! Okay, go for
Well,
it.
it's not exactly unique.
Well, that's
but
okay. Love
my
to hear.
Harrison Ford?
No.
I was
My
dreaming of
classic
Harrison
maker
Ford.
was Sean Connery.
Hey!
Oh really? Oh
Like,
cool.
I love Sean Connery's acting, and I thought he did this role perfectly. Like when he looks at the birds and grabs his umbrella.
Yes.
And he's like,
I finally remembered my Charlemagne.
I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne.
Exactly.
Let
I
my
thought
armies
it
be the
was-
rocks and
it
the
was-
trees and the birds in the sky.
Go for it.
I just thought it was perfect. It was better than his Egyptian in Highlander.
Oh yeah,
He was a Spaniard in Highlander, but yes,
close enough. Was he though?
That's a good point.
Alien, apparently.
Yeah.
My favorite scene of his is that scene that Francisco's got up there on his camera when he's sitting there trying. He's sitting there trying to blow out the fire and not say anything to Indy right away, and then he has no choice. He's like, I gotta say something.
When he shoots the tail of the plane, he's like, "They got us."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Got
That
it.
was so good too. Yes.
So
my.
He was fantastic. He executed everything perfectly, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
and he just was perfect for this role.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I agree. Good.
Oh, go ahead, Travis. No, go for it.
Oh yeah, and I think just like too, comparing that performance to like 007, you could tell it was so like academic and interested in the cross section of the vase and it being a fake. So many different things that really made the character.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
There were moments you could see Bond coming out.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't really watched any of his Bond movies, so now I'll just wait. If I ever go back to them, I'm like, oh, your Dr. Jones is coming out. But I'm really surprised no one mentioned the pacing in this film because it is paced so extremely well. I imagine that would have been some of ours if we had more to go through, but
I loved all the location changes. There's such a wide variety and just so much going on that was interesting as like each step kind of the scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
really well
paced. Exactly.
The scene with the stamp in the library. Yes. As a kid, I remember cracking up, and it is still hilarious to me. This guy is just like scared of this tiny little stamp and just sets it down and looks at it.
I'm sorry, guys. Darn it. There's one more thing I liked. The Untold Podcast. The Untold Podcast is a speculative fiction podcast utilizing the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. Check out the Untold Podcast at www.untoldpodcast.com and listen to them and leave them a review on Apple Podcasts.
That's great, Francisco. But what does the Untold Podcast have to do with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Well, the story of what Indy's origin was, how he got the scar on his lip, how he got his hat, all that was untold until this movie. I take it you're not buying that, Paul. Fine. Will you buy some trivia for me?
Yes. Excellent.
Okay, fantastic. Did you all realize that 2,000 rats were bred for the production of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
2,000 rats on bread.
Ew.
Breeding them especially was necessary, as ordinary rats would have been riddled with disease.
Ew.
That makes sense.
Yeah. These were healthy rats?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're bred like lab rats, I assume.
That would have been set on fire?
No, those were mechanical. They had like a lot of all the ones that were set on fire looked real, but they were mechanical.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. They're like Bruce rats, essentially. Is what
There
you're
were
Yes.
ROUSs, but
Yes.
I don't think they exist.
Okay. My question to you all is not a Princess Bride question. What is your favorite animal? And if you could breed 2,000 of them for a movie, would you?
Yes.
So, let me start.
Wait, personally, no.
Yes, personally. You would breed that. No, not.
I need a
You know what I mean.
Okay.
No.
Celeste, go for it.
Yes. Are we talking real animals?
Yes, real
or
animals.
mythical animals?
Real animals.
Because I have a favorite real animal and I have
Is
a
it a
favorite
liger?
mythical animal.
Then give us your real animals, Celeste.
Okay.
So Pikachu doesn't count?
No, Pikachu doesn't count.
Okay.
Penguins.
Oh,
Oh,
penguins.
nice.
Okay.
I would be Mr. Popper if Dallas wouldn't kill me. I'd be like, look at all these penguins in our house. He'd be like, what? Why are they pooping? Why?
Oh my. Travis,
As long as you try not to defeat Batman, you're okay.
Oh my gosh. Travis, how about you?
Would breed 2,000 chameleons and then make like a suit that would camouflage me.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Nice.
A chameleon.
So you would breed them to then skin them, or are we talking they would just
No, they'd be
sit on you?
alive and attached.
Okay.
He'd like
be like-
wear them.
A much lamer version of Predator.
I thought this
Chameleon
was like 101 chameleon stuff. Gross.
Oh my. All right. So Danae, you now have 2,000 chameleons in your house. What are you going to add to the cacophony?
It's a coat, apparently.
Of many colors.
Would do something really boring like dogs, but
Dogs.
that's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's nice, Cruella.
Not for a coat like Travis.
Okay. Glad you clarified that, because that's what I was thinking.
My. Ashley, how about you?
Well, my favorite animal is the giraffe, but there is no way that I'm breeding giraffes. They're
come
way
on.
too big. It's impractical. And when they're babies, they're already bigger than I am, so that's not going to happen. So
Well,
I'll
they
just
also
stick to my...
They also fight with their necks.
Yeah, they do fight with their necks. So I'm just going to stick with my stuffed giraffe collection that I have. My like tied beanie babies. I'm just going to be a relic of my past and just stick with those.
So you're going to
Imagine
somehow
having
breed your
2,000 giraffes.
beanie baby dress?
I'm not going to breed anything. No.
She refuses to play along.
I refuse. Yes, because it's impractical to breed 2,000 giraffes.
Oh,
even for a movie. Come on.
Even for a movie. Because if you think about even in this movie, the giraffes that they had, they were just animatronic heads. They weren't real giraffes.
Oh, were they? Oh, I didn't know that. LJ, what non-animatronic real animals would you breed that are your favorite?
It would be awesome to breed a small army of like domestic wolves.
Ooh.
That'd be to guard a compound in the wilderness and just like I don't know, just like yeah, it'd be great to have like a domestic like wolf.
Would you add laser beams to their heads?
No, but you can put all kinds of stuff on them with a harness. You could do whatever you want with them.
I suppose that's true.
Don't
I challenge the domestic wolf part.
Dallas wants a wolf, so he
Tame.
would come and,
I would
take
mount
one of them off your hands.
I would mount a machine gun on one of their backs.
Wow. Aaron, how about you?
Pandas.
Oh, pandas.
There you go.
They're
wow.
so cute. And recently I saw it was like a video of a panda that was like rolling down a hill. And somebody commented, and all they said was, "I don't know how these animals survive in the wild." Actually, it's true.
That's fair.
Then you have 2,000, and you've like replenished the panda population.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true.
exactly.
Yeah.
Literally would double it. Yep.
Yeah.
Good job, Aaron. You've helped the pandas.
I've helped myself and the world.
Nice.
Be selfless, everyone. It's Christmas.
One panda at a time.
So
exactly.
I
Or
was
giraffe.
just Googling how much bamboo would it take to feed 2,000 pandas. And one panda eats about 50 pounds a day. So that's, is that 10,000?
I think that's
No,
10,000.
it's 100,000 pounds
100,000? Oh my gosh.
of
Would we
bamboo a day.
Would we deplete
All right,
the world's
everyone,
bamboo
join the
forest?
cause. Join the cause.
Start growing your own bamboo.
Mule bamboo,
Wow.
mule bamboo.
Paul, how about for you? Let's end with you, Paul.
Well, besides 2,000 cows and
Actually, before you do,
slaughtering them and
before
with delicious
you go
barbecue
to cows,
sauce.
Stacy says horses,
Yes.
and then Dale says deer. Nice. And then Bob says, "Yeah, that's a lot of panda crap."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, go for
50
it.
pounds a day.
Go for it.
I would like to see what 2,000 pterodactyls reintroduced into the wild would do to our ecology.
Wow.
You'll learn that with the new Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, watch
Yeah.
the new Jurassic Park movie and see what happens.
Yeah, but this is only one of the dinosaurs, so I'm just curious.
But
I'm
50, but 2,000 of them.
Yeah.
You're making what, Celeste?
I am making a crocheted pterodactyl right now, and
Oh,
it's taking over
Rodan.
my house.
Rodan.
Yeah.
How big is it?
How's Dallas doing with his what's he doing? A Charizard or a Charmeleon or something?
He's still learning the basics.
Oh, okay.
So he's got nothing.
But no, Rodan is the length of my leg.
Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
That's a long Charizard.
Mhm.
And great trivia,
Dang.
Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we have all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Applesauce Photography 2018 says, the best of all the Indiana Jones movies.
Jackie Sculpted from Clay says, when he had to save his dad.
Drew Dodgen says, we named the dog Indiana.
Wardell White says, when I was 16, he says, I was 16 when this movie came out. 1989 was a big year for movie. Batman, Lethal Weapon 2, Ghostbusters 2, Karate Kid Part 3 were released that summer. I believe this was a May release.
Correct.
In 1989, this 16-year-old would have told you Batman rocked. Today, I believe The Last Crusade was superior to the other releases. Seeing Indy ride out in the sunset along with his father and friends was awesome.
Awesome. The Dapper Man says, of all the stories Steven Spielberg and George Lucas could have stolen, they decided to steal the one from the Monty Python. Why am I reading this one? The Monty Python crew. Everyone knows that Camelot may be a silly place, and it looks like a model from afar to find a holy grail, but it is still more believable than a bunch of Nazis going after it. Monty Python is far superior. Monty Python asks 3 questions. Indiana Jones faced 3 trials. Monty Python challenged by the castle of Anthrax. Indiana Jones challenged by the castle of Swastika. Monty Python used coconuts and welcome friends. Indiana Jones uses a whip, sometimes on his friends. Monty Python. He also has great songs to sing along to, lovely animation, brilliant use of modest budget with a fantastic crew that can play multiple roles. Indiana Jones, yeah, I didn't think so. Nice.
Nicht so good. It's gut. That's
German.
German.
Nicht so gut. Oh wait, I forgot Germans speak and write in perfect English. Yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
Yes,
What
they
of
do.
it, Dapper Man?
Alex Ortiz says, after seeing this movie, I always wanted my own Lucky Charm, and I finally got it. I can't say it's actually brought me any luck. It's mainly got me a lot of, why do you have a lighter if you don't smoke?
Yeah, Lucky Charm lighter. And he had a picture on the Facebook post. And David Bobke ends us by saying, I remember that it was the last Indiana Jones movie. The last Indiana Jones movie. Some people seem to believe there was a fourth. These are people that I like to refer to as wrong. And I'm sure there were some things that in this here movie that were wrong too. Thank you, Bobo. And that brings us right into the things we didn't like, our tragic makers for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Worst 3.
Or worst 8, as it were now. And we're going to begin with Celeste this time. What was the thing you hated most about this film?
Okay, so it takes a little bit of setup.
Okay.
On the scene where they're on the tank and he is stuck on the sticky thing.
Yes,
the,
he has
the gun that got exploded or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's stuck with his bag and it's so tragic. And he's literally like sitting on this like it's a swing. Okay, that's cool. When he gets up,
I know where this is going.
the bag is still on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bag never came off the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
When
noticed
watching that Biff from Back to the Future, actually it was Mad Dog 10 and came to mind when he says, "Hey, you can't do that."
Yep.
I literally like because I've seen this movie once before. This is like my second time watching it. And so I was watching it and I'm like, how did he get the bag off? And Dallas goes, well, maybe it's not on him. And then he turns and the bag's there and it's in a different spot.
Yeah, well, he had to maneuver it to get it around the exploded
it under his
gun
jacket
barrel. Yeah.
instead of over his jacket.
Yeah.
It's called fancy editing.
So he took his jacket off, put the bag under it, and then took it off the gun.
Time out, bad guys. I need to fix my bag.
Hang on, I'm having a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, they left that. That's in the director's cut fan edit or something. But there's like, oh, this takes too long, so we just cut that part out. Yeah. That's what happened.
It was like I had to back it up because I wanted
Yeah.
to see if it had happened. I was like, well, maybe I missed him slip the bag off.
Okay.
Or slip it off the gun. So that's
I noticed that just as much, Celeste. That was like, oh my gosh, really? But mine was similar to that. Was something that didn't make sense to me. My tragic maker was, I found it so hard to believe it took him out of the movie that Indy sort of in the catacombs, the lake thing is on fire.
Thank you
He
for mentioning.
goes
Oh wait,
under the water that's apparently filled with petroleum and is all dark because it's in underneath the city, and he can just see he can find a way out. It's amazing. That was unbelievable. He would not be able to see anything.
His eyes
So I'm
should be, like,
sorry.
on fire.
He drowns. Him and Elsa drown under there or get.
I actually
lit on
thought
fire.
you were actually going to go before at the beginning of that scene.
Oh.
Here he is, an archaeologist who's all about preserving history and trying to find, what's going on. And he's like, oh, there's a dead guy here. I'm just going to rip his bones out and make a torch from his clothing. It's like, okay, that's an archaeologist. Not.
Was that your tragic maker, Paul?
That was until I found something even worse.
Oh. Well, why don't you go ahead and give it to us, Paul?
Okay, it's really going to bother me from now on every time I watch this movie because I'm weird. But okay,
Is it the stormtrooper who hit his head on the door?
No, that's a funny thing. The last night, the guy with the grail.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay.
Speaks
K-N-I-G-H-T. Okay,
yes, speaks perfect English. Not English of Beowulf from like 1,000 years ago that we can't understand, but this guy's from like 2000 or however many
700 plus years ago.
Yeah, and he's it doesn't make sense. They wouldn't be able to communicate with each other.
That's a good point. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Maybe the Grail gives him speaking in tongues.
Oh, yes.
Maybe he got shore leave. It's
But he can't leave the site though. That's he can't leave, so he's not gonna come into contact with people. Because
no. On his shore leave, it will. I think I'm down with this, Danae. I think he'll get shore leave. Yeah, that makes
You'll
sense.
leave the Grail there, so as long as the Grail doesn't pass the marker, then it's safe. But he's supposed to guard it, right? Yeah.
No,
Just like hide them behind a rock. It's cool.
That is a valid point, Paul.
And you don't want to see his bathroom in the back. Like thousands. How does he eat? Or maybe he doesn't.
What does he do?
He reads his Bible. He reads his Bible.
He lives off the
No,
the word is his bread.
He's like
Is
Rapunzel
Mana
in the
coming?
tower, and
yes,
He's got a
7
frying
a.m.
pan.
usual morning lineup.
Yeah.
I was gonna
What are
say,
you
is Mana
talking about?
appearing? Is Mana
In-
appearing in the cave? Like, is
Oh,
there a
maybe.
water source
Entangled.
that we don't know about?
Yes, there's a
Tangled.
water source there.
Entangled
That's where they.
when she's in the tower.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought
And
her
she sings a
mom
whole
gave
song
her
about what she does all day when she's stuck in the tower. So maybe
Yeah.
her night
When will her
has a
life
song that he
begin?
sings. Yes, when will
Yeah,
his
maybe.
life begin?
He reads
When
a
he
book,
learns
or
to
maybe
speak
2 or
English.
3.
Or
Or when will it end?
Usual
Oh,
morning
man.
lineup.
Okay, we're getting off the rails, guys.
The floor's all clean.
You're just not
Let's-
Disney. It's fine.
Let's go back.
Yeah, that's right. Francisco hates happiness.
Let's go back
Tangled is so good.
to this movie. LJ, what don't you like about Tangled? I mean, Last Crusade.
There really wasn't a lot that I didn't like. The cringy part for me is always the romantic like parts whenever
Oh,
like,
okay.
and so this part was just awkward when like they finally like meet and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh, we don't need this. But also Indiana Jones in himself is kind of a James Bond-esque.
Yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
a damsel, so it's like it's part of the formula, but it's just like, oh, here we go again. But yeah, it's really nitpicky. I liked this movie a lot, and so, but that scene is just very awkward, and I was like, okay, let's move on.
Have you guys heard the fan theory that when Indiana Jones was in England, like on his way when he was in World War I, he got a girl pregnant and gave birth to the boy who became James Bond later?
No.
Nope.
What?
No.
Because I
he
just
gave
came up with
birth
it.
to
That's
his
why.
dad?
That's not
More
even
than you have to
fabulous.
believe it to be a fan.
Yeah, that's not even fabulous fan fiction. That's just frightening. That's frightening fan fiction.
Oh, fine.
Did I
thought-
misunderstand? But did you just say Indiana Jones gave birth to his dad, James Bond?
Yes,
He gave-
that is exactly what he said.
All right.
Bad.
All right.
Bad.
Whatever. Okay, so let's go now to Aaron. What is your tragic maker for Last Crusade?
So the scene where Indy goes into Elsa's room and it's ransacked,
Yes.
and you open the door, and yes, she's in the bathroom, drawing herself a bath, and the music is very loud, but there's just a door separating her from her room, and she comes out and she's like, "My room." Like,
Yeah, it's
you
a bit-
wouldn't have heard people
Right?
throwing
Yeah.
bookshelves over and all of that, and
Yeah.
Indy just automatically, is like, "Oh yeah, I guess she didn't hear him." Like, the music wasn't that loud.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of a misogynist, though.
That's
so.
what I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah. But she was a Nazi. She did it herself.
She did. She did it herself,
What?
But he fell for it, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that. Oh yeah, sure. She must not have heard them through this door.
But
Well, young Indiana Jones have taught me a lot about how India is just sort of oblivious to so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Oh,
thanks
we
a lot,
all
young
know.
Indiana Jones.
If you remember when we reviewed Temple of Doom, there were several points where the enemy was making noise and he just slept through it. So
that's a good,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe he has bad hearing.
Yeah.
They never really talk about that, but
all
maybe.
that gun, yeah,
Hearing aids weren't invented yet.
no.
that's true.
Good point. Then now let's go to Ashley. What's the thing you hated most about Last Crusade?
Okay, where do I begin? No, I'm kidding. But going in line with things that just do not make sense. There was this part later in the film where Indy loses his hat, and then they're walking, and then all of a sudden the wind mysteriously just whisks it back to him like, "Oh, this is a magical hat." It reminded me of Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
How the wind just blew the hat onto the snowman and brought him back to life. I'm like, is this a magical hat? Is this following Indy? Because it was clearly gone, and it's just miraculously there. And other things that like don't make sense, like when Donovan consumes from the Grail, and yes, he's rapidly aging, but like, why is he like, his hair is like growing and growing and growing? I'm like, would that really happen? Probably, but it just so disturbing. Things just don't make sense. I'm like, but he didn't get a beard. He was just
Oh,
yeah.
that's
he
a
was
good
just
point.
growing.
Why didn't he get a beard?
Yeah, why didn't he get a beard? Why only was his hair growing? And
Maybe he's one of those dudes that can't grow a beard.
Yeah.
there are such people, but there's just so many little things that just like did not make sense. And thinking about what Paul is saying, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to unthink that now. Like, how would he be able to communicate? And
You're welcome.
and honestly, just all the little things. And now I'm just going to never look the same at it now.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Did you
Paul.
know that Harrison Ford used to staple the hat to his head so it would stay on during
Really?
the action sequences?
No.
Oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
He did.
He took a staple
Ow.
gun that was empty. That's going to put things in your head.
Straight
That's
outta
not
Home
going to
Alone.
work.
Wow.
I
It was
can
a joke.
imagine that they'd probably be using like wig tape or something to like
It
keep
was-
it on, but it's like
anything.
really anything
Wow.
to keep it on. But how did it get back to him? Is it seriously?
God.
Is there some magic
Maybe.
in that hat?
Maybe it's the
There
hat from
is.
Mario
Yes.
Odyssey.
There you
Wow.
go.
Maybe so.
I will. Oh, geez, I was just about to comment on something, and now. I sort of got
Our
the
situation
sense.
has not improved.
Thank you, Dr. Jones Sr. I always thought of Donovan sort of gets when you have the chosen poorly water from the wrong chalice, that you sort of get stuck in this like time loop, or not time loop, but this time vortex where time just speeds up rapidly for you, and that's how you die. But that doesn't explain the beard thing, unless he just
No.
doesn't grow a beard. But
No,
that's
he
why I always thought of it.
he got a mullet. It's just like you would think if he would drink it, he would just like die instantly, rather than having to go through the fast forward of time to
But-
indicate that time is slipping away from him.
Then it's not special effects that are cool. And
Yeah, we need some cool
it felt-
effects.
so unnecessary. Like he was slowly transforming into the Crypt Keeper, except looked better.
You do have to keep in mind that even after you die, your hair and your nails keeps growing for like a few weeks.
That's true.
So that was sped up.
But to the mullet extreme, extreme.
I don't know. I don't
That
go
was
digging up graves and
actually
looking at their hair.
That was actually back then. They believed that hair and nails still grew because they uncovered mummies where their hair was much longer and their nails were much longer. But it's only since then recently they found out it's actually they're not growing. It's actually the skin shrinking back, making it look like it's growing.
Okay.
Well, maybe that's why there wasn't a beard then, because he didn't have a beard to begin with. So if it was just the skin shrinking back.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, he didn't have that much hair in his body.
His head shrank away from the hair he had.
At the end of the day, it was for the cool special effects.
We gotta get to engineering now. Travis, what did you hate most about this film?
There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, there's some like small discrepancies that I don't think are the true tragic maker. For me, it was, I will give credit to Danae for pointing it out, but after the amazing boat chase scene, there's, they're fighting to the death on this propeller, and he says, I'm willing to die, or you. Then he throws him on the boat, and then all of a sudden there's just a snap change. He's like, hey, let me tell you where your dad is. And I know. And it doesn't create these plot discrepancies at all. Like that just like 5-minute movement from Venice to Austria. I don't know. It felt like very author driven, or
it was all a misunderstanding. It was like, oh, I thought you were after the Grail. Oh, you're just after your dad? Well, he's in Austria.
They're trying to murder each other.
Yeah. And why was his dad in Austria if Donovan was working for the Nazis anyways? Like that also kind of didn't make sense to me. But
wait,
yeah, I thought he was in the U.S. having dinner parties.
Make it make sense.
So, you mean why wasn't what should he have been in the U.S.? Dr. Jones should have, or the dad should have been in the U.S. instead of Germany? Or
so why did Donovan need both of the Joneses in Germany? If he was the one, if Donovan was in with the Nazis, and his dad was taken by either party, why did they need to take him to Austria to have?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
He
hires Indiana to look for his father because they want the Grail, but he's part of the party that kidnapped his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is he
what
hiring?
The issue is
they needed the Grail journal though.
Oh, that's right. They needed the
journal. Yeah.
The only way
that's
he was
what it
get
was.
the journal is if he got Indy, because it was like, well, it's not on his person, so maybe he sent it. I don't know that they knew that he sent it to his son.
That's a big risk.
Yeah, right.
It paid off.
Like,
got a bonus for
they
it.
grabbed it back, and maybe they were like, well, we have to keep Dr. Jones alive because there's little intricacies in here that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to tell us about this journal.
But
all right, I'll buy that part, Ashley, but not the sudden change of heart from the.
No.
That is fair. That is fair.
That is, yeah.
Danae, what maybe was a sudden change of heart for you? Like you thought this was going to be great, but then it wasn't.
Oh my gosh, that's such a specific question.
Well, then just give me your tragedy maker.
There you go.
I'm like, put me on the spot. I think similar to others, there's nothing that's really like that bad. Just kind of like
the music.
This
that
continuity. Yeah, no, the music is fantastic.
Actually, the music did pull me out. You guys thought it was very whimsical during these chases, and I'm like, stop playing happy music. This is a chase. Like your lives are in danger. What's going on, John Williams? Anyway, go ahead.
I think I had a couple. The one that I probably liked the least is kind of like the suspended disbelief when Marcus gets kidnapped. So it just so happened that they're like running through the market and he like goes in to hide, and then it's the truck. I'm like, that's I mean, it's a plot element. It's funny. It makes a scene, but like realistic, definitely not. They were putting all of their effort. Like, was every storefront secretly a Nazi truck, and they were just hoping he ran into one of them?
Yes.
Like,
yeah. No, they just have bad luck.
Am I misremembering that they had a similar thing in Raiders of the Lost Ark where they got them away in a truck or something? That
Similar.
Was, storefront.
Yeah.
plot elements.
Well, so they're just trying to have a bookend.
Wait,
That's
so was that your tragic maker, the truck runaway?
Yeah. I
right.
can't think of anything that
Well,
much
how
more
about
terrible.
if you're an airplane pilot, why would you purposely dive into a mountainside and there's a tunnel there? Doesn't make sense.
That's funny.
He wanted to see if he could
surprised
race.
about it. He was very surprised there was a tunnel there.
Yeah, he was like, "What? How am I in here all of a sudden?"
Yeah, I was trying to die. What is?
It was a calculated risk. It paid off. He's like, well, I'm ready to die, but I guess I'm not in this moment.
Yeah.
Give me like a few minutes more, and then I'll be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he was just the C student in Nazi flight school, Paul. He didn't realize what wingspans were. I don't know. But that's fair. Any other last little bonuses before we get to our final ratings, guys?
My question is, can anybody kind of explain how Donovan's kind of plot development of, so he wants the Grail, but at some point he's like, Hitler can have it. I just want, like, I can't remember what the line is, but essentially it's like, how is he going to have it, but then also let Hitler have it? How did he not know enough about the Grail to be able to pick the correct one, yet invest all this money in it? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something missing in like the plot development and motivation of this guy to find the Grail.
I can see that, yes.
I think what it is that he believes that drinking from it, physically drinking from it, is what gives him eternal life.
And that's
Just like
what he wanted. Yeah,
so he wants to drink from it, and then he'll give it away because he thinks he's
Yeah.
going to live forever.
They didn't know the full rules of how it needed to stay where it needed to stay. They didn't know. They only knew that it was a relic, and it was this thing that was so sought after because it's like, ooh, the cup of Christ, it will give you eternal life. And you could tell that he was there for that. So Aaron, I agree with that.
But doesn't it seem weird that like with all of the like research and historical background he has on it, for him to just so obviously pick the wrong one?
Elsa picked it for him, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Elsa
true.
picked it for him.
On
Yeah.
purpose, though.
Oh, you think she did it on purpose?
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
It looked like a Grail cup that is on a lot of paintings.
But then why did she seem to be sort of not sure which one to go after he died? So that's why I thought, because I was looking for that. I was wondering.
She didn't know which one it was, but she knew what one it wasn't, is what they're saying.
Go with the most ornate. But it's like, really, do you think Christ himself would have had the most ornate thing? No, because the first will be last and the last will be first. And I think Indy does a great job of like saying, well, think of the time, think of like his station in life as he was alive.
This is
what would he have been doing that? So
which doesn't make sense. He's not like on the cross saying, hey, can someone go to my carpentry shop and go get my cup and catch my
Bring
blood?
me my gold chalice.
Yeah.
Yes. Bring me my jewel-encrusted chalice.
Either way, it's not his cup.
I think the idea is that it was the same cup that was used for the Last Supper, so maybe the disciple would have brought it with them, maybe, for some reason.
But that was in the upper room of some other person. That's some
know,
other
but
person's
Maybe someone took a
cutlery
souvenir, Paul.
Exactly. They wanted to
I want to remember
commemorate
this
the
moment
Last Supper.
forever.
Exactly.
But it's truly an enchanted cup now because Jesus drank from it. So now it's got magical powers. How?
It's the
Because
same.
that's
Well,
the only cup he ever used. Mary trained him from bottle to that cup.
That was his sippy cup.
Oh, wow.
Wow. What
Put a thing on it.
theories are happening now, my word. Well, yeah, there's a lot of mysticism and magic that surround the perceived Grail, and which we might get into if there could be anything that is special about a Grail, if one existed in our spiritual speculation section. But it's not time for that. It's time for our final reigns of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because we've entered all our targeting information into the firing computer. Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
Moment has come. The trilogy is over. Do we rate Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, a classic. We'd recommend anyone go and see this movie, whether or not you've seen it before. And probably don't have to see the others because this is episodic as opposed to serialized, like we talked about in our Matrix episode. Anyway, classic. Or nostalgic. It's worth your time to rewatch if you saw as a kid or a teenager. But if you've never seen it before, probably just go ahead and pass on this one. Or is it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time today, whether or not you've seen it before. If you haven't, stay away. And if you have, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So we all, across the board, predicted this as classic. Let's see if all those predictions held up. And I'm just going to go the same way as before. LJ, what was your final reign for this film?
I had only seen it a few times in my life, a lot less than the other two, and I realized I need to watch it more. So, classic.
Ooh, okay. Aaron?
Definitely a classic. I think there's too many good things about this movie to not recommend it to people.
Absolutely.
There are just so many things about it that make it fun and funny and feeling adventurous. There's great actors, great music. Definitely a classic.
Absolutely. Okay. Ashley?
Classic in my book. Out
Classic
of
as
the
well.
original trilogy, this is by far my favorite.
Oh,
I watched
nice.
them all earlier this year in January within like a 3-week period, and I was
Oh,
so looking
fun.
forward to this. And it holds up, and it will continue to hold up for all of the
Very good,
reasons
very
that people have mentioned.
Awesome.
You have chosen wisely.
Has Danae chosen wisely? Let's find out. What's your final reign?
I also rated a classic. This
What?
has always been my favorite Indiana
cool.
Jones of the 3 Indiana Jones films that exist.
Yeah, of the 3. Yeah, there's not 4.
If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it.
Nice. Celeste?
I'm going to stick with classic.
Classic as well. All righty. Travis?
Definitely like for me too. Just so many iconic scenes, especially the tank chase scene. I think even before I knew what Indiana Jones was or who he was, I remember that scene from childhood watching that.
Fun. Nice. Paul, are you going to be a holdout?
Yeah, it's
Or am I?
nostalgic for people who saw it way back when, but it's definitely classic to me.
Love the bait and switch.
I see what
Very
you
good,
did there.
Paul. Very good. Yeah, that is classic Paul. Oh, crap. I just realized.
You weren't
Isn't
recording
this
this
officially
whole
now
time.
a Disney movie?
Oh, no.
Well, they own.
Now I'm conflicted.
No, well, they own the character, but they don't own distribution rights or something. It gets really technical.
Oh, okay. Then I feel
But
good.
they own
saying,
the movie, yes.
I feel good saying this is a classic. As long as they can't distribute it, that's good. That's a classic in my book.
Stop them from doing something, please.
Yes. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade a undisputed or unanimous classic film. We definitely recommend you go and see this, whether or not you've seen it before. Time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
Comsat online.
Every time.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1989 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keane, Patrick Hicks, sorry, Patch, LJ Lowry, oh, you're right here, Chris Cowan, Chris Owens, Geek Devotions, oh, Celeste is here too, The Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Cronenberg, oh, you're here also,
oh,
Pastor Dewston, Kennethan, Redeemed Otaku, Ryan Lingle, That's Our Baba, Josh Adams, D. Tungsten, Andy Lewis, Jeff, The Dapper Man Reviews, Tony from the Retro Days, and Mr. Loss and Daryl Hafner, in addition to 10 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming, and if you want to help us keep flying for as little as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to help us grow via Patreon, Subscribestar, or PayPal.
This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
And while we're thanking our supporters, we also want to give a big junior hug to our guests.
Junior!
For supporting us with their thoughts about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So I'm going to actually go in order of what's on the screen, left to right, top to bottom. So we'll start with E-Money. How can people find you online? Is there anything cool that you got going on people should know about?
Sure. I am on Instagram as eMoneyDub, and it is the Christmas season, so our church is in full swing with Christmassy things. And you can join us on Christmas Eve at 5 p.m. at live.creekside.org for our Christmas service.
Cool. Awesome. And is that Pacific time?
Pacific time, yes. So 5 p.m. Pacific time.
That is a specific time, yes.
Specific.
And Ashley, thank you. How can people find you online and what's going on?
Yeah, nothing really going on, but you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at APK1186. Find me there and see all of my posts about Christ and pop culture.
Thank you. Awesome. And War Hero LJ.
Yeah, so you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at WarHeroLJ. And check out geeksundergrace.com. It's an awesome organization that I have the honor of leading that bridges the gap between Christ and pop culture. Specifically for the Retro Rewind community, I just did a review on the movie 8-Bit Christmas.
Nice.
Which is very topical for this kind of audience. So go check that out if it's a movie you haven't watched yet. And it's
I haven't heard of it.
So.
That's cool.
How have you not heard of this? Because it's on HBO Max.
HBO. Yeah. That'd be why.
All right, thank you. And Celeste.
You can find me on all of the social things under Geek Devotions. Nice. Geek Devotions is my husband and I's thing. That's what we do. You can also listen to me play D&D with a bunch of friends over at Playing Games with Strangers. And if you are in need of a voice actress, you can find me at the Voices of Celeste Mora.
Nice.
Very cool.
So thank you. And thank you, Danae, for joining us. How can people find you online? Or is anything cool you got going on besides two little munchkins running around?
They're very time consuming.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is NAPOD. It's NAEPOD. Nothing super exciting. Just, two kids. We're getting ready to move, but no cool projects to plug. So.
Do you mind me asking where to?
Just a little bit north of us. So
nice. So colder for the winter.
Yeah. It's like the worst time of year to move, right around the holidays.
It is, yeah. So the person next to you, Travis, what do you have to say about that?
It is a lot farther north. So there's dire wolves now, which I'm excited.
Whoa! So are there you go. Of them that you can breed?
But domestic, right. So it's okay.
Yeah, domestic. Yeah, dire wolves. Yes.
Okay. You can find me on MySpace and LinkedIn. Just updated my profile. So all of the cutting edge, really, really youth focused social media platform.
What's your profile song?
It's gonna be something by like
hey,
My
don't.
Chemical Romance.
Yeah, it's real angsty. Whatever it is, there's a lot of angst.
Oh man.
Yeah, don't sweet talk him. I know you're just trying to get in his top 8.
Tom's always number one.
Yeah.
Dang it, Tom.
Oh my word. Well, thank you again, Aaron, Ashley, LJ, Celeste, Danae, Travis, and of course, Paul. It's so awesome to have you all here. And a hearty thanks to you listening, whether it's your first time listening to the show. And of course, all of you who are a regular part of our Rad Rewinder community, thank you as well. You all who watch us live every week, whether we're recording this podcast or playing retro games, you're all an amazing group of people helping sustain the pod. But if you're looking for ways to get involved in growing this Retro Rewind endeavor, you can reach out to us on social media, where we are at Retro Rewind Pod, pretty much everywhere. But you can buy some of our merch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, become a monthly patron, or simply share your favorite episode of the podcast with a friend so that more people can enjoy the content of the Retro Rewind Pod.
I came here to save you. Oh, yeah?
And who's going to come to save you, Junior? I told you. Don't call me Junior.
But you can call us Retro Rewind Podcast. You've been listening to RetroRewindPodcast.com/241, our review of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with me, your XO, PaulJPowers.com. You can find me and all my socials at PaulJPowers.com.
Oh, it's not .net. I can't talk, apparently. .com. Well, thank you for being an amazing friend.
Thank you. I feel pretty amazing myself. I'm glad you recognize that. No, but you're also amazing. How you put all this together and put up with all of us. It's great.
Oh, it's my pleasure. But thank you, Paul. I have been and continue to be the captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz. Find me on Twitter at FXRetro, especially if you need pixel artwork commission, though that may be changing soon. The handle where you can find me again, yes. Always changing things up, keeping things interesting.
So thank you, Nathan. And we are now, as he said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all our shows unpacking truth, not fact, truth. I don't know what that means. We'll talk about it later through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. And with that, Captain, we are on final approach to base, where hopefully they have more whips and fedora hats.
Wow. Maybe in the gift shop. Thank you, XO, and thank you all for listening. You listening right now. Thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful now than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we got to catch you all for the next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
I can get it. I can almost reach it, Dad. Indiana. Let it go.
Speaking of letting it go, there's another Indiana Jones property that we are going to let go of.
You must be talking about young Indiana Jones!
Then it is something that man was not
unfortunate.
Trust me.
Are you making this up as you go along? Yeah?
You don't believe me. You will, Dr. Jones.
Mission accomplished.
Full throttle? Those people are trying to kill us.
I know, Dad! It's a new experience for me.
Happens to me all the time.
Welcome to the final installment / review of Young Chronicles of Young Indiana Jones Adventures through Hollywood, apparently, where we review movies. We've been reviewing the Indiana Jones movies, all three of them, each Christmas for the past 3 years now. In between those, we've, as you've been following most likely, and maybe just skipping altogether, our reviews of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, Adventures, whatever it's called these days.
The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones.
The
when
Adventures
it first aired on
of
TV,
the Young
it was called
Chronicles of Indiana Jones. Young.
22 chapters later, and you still can't get it.
Yeah, well, I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But so we're going to go and essentially talk about the things we liked about this episode, things we didn't, one thing we liked, one thing we didn't like, and whether or not you should go back and rewatch the whole series based on this episode or just stick with the movies. I already know how this is going to pan out, but I have an ESPN about this. Let's start with, we're going to be very laissez-faire about this. You have something to say, go for it. I will kick it over to Paul though to start us off.
Yes, you want me to tell you
about the things we liked. Let's start with things.
We're forgetting
the technical. No, that's true. Go with the technicals.
All right. So this is the 22nd, the last chapter of the Young Indiana Jones Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. It was first aired. It was one of the first of 4 of these little films that aired on the Family Channel, and it aired on October 15th, 1994. It's called Young Indiana Jones and the Hollywood Follies. So, do you want to give us a one-sentence synopsis of this?
Yes. Indy is instructed to go from New York to LA to stop a movie from going on too long, and then he gets put as a director's assistant in a cowboy movie and falls in love. And yeah.
Okay. That's pretty good. I'm impressed that we remembered that much watching it at 2x speed.
How'd you know I watched it at 2x speed?
Because I'm willing to take that bet most of these.
He's usually right.
Well, you know what? This time, Paul, you're right again.
Yes.
So let's start again. Just jump in as you like. But let's, Paul, what's something you liked?
I actually liked the love interest writer. I don't know. I thought it was somebody different for him, and I was intrigued by that.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was definitely what's good for the goose is good for the gander. After the last episode, for those that didn't watch it, Indy was essentially trying to juggle 3 women. And so for him to have it now turned on him where she's interested in him and someone else.
Yeah.
To sort of get a sense of how that feels, I felt like was it's not what's good for the goose is good for the gander, even though that's the idiom I use.
Turnabout is fair play.
Turnabout is fair play. That's what it is. Yes.
You know, I was impressed that Indiana Jones actually did learn something. There were 2 beautiful women this time, and he didn't go for both of them. He only stuck to one of them.
Yep.
Who was the other one?
There were 2 one was the actress and one was the writer. Those were 2 different women.
I guess that could have been something.
Yes, those were 2 different women, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Did anyone else like something about this?
I really liked the director.
Yes, for the Western.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I actually
liked his
enjoyed him.
character. I liked his enthusiasm.
Yes.
John Ford, yeah.
Is that so? Is Francis Ford Coppola his brother or something? Is that what they were trying to say with that, or something?
John
else?
Ford was a famous movie director. I don't know if he's related to.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Hard to
Never
say.
mind.
He was likable though.
Yeah.
Out of all the directors in that episode, he was definitely likable. What I really liked was as they were filming, how they would have the on-set like orchestra to play music to actually
the
the
little
scene.
squeeze box
So
thing. Yes.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. Out of an episode where there wasn't a whole lot to like, I really enjoyed the music, especially when they were on the set of the Western, because they played a song that I actually recognized that my grandfather used to sing all the time.
Oh, cool.
And it was My Wild Irish Rose. And I was like, wow, I know this song. And it was just fitting because like my grandfather grew up around that time. So knowing that song, I'm like, oh, I like this. And I really enjoyed all the music that they used. And even that weird, peculiar scene where the eccentric director was swimming in his pool, how he had the choir singing for it.
Okay, that's so strange.
That was so bizarre.
Well, they didn't have
Carmina Burana also.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yes,
What?
like the
Pretty
music
absurd.
was recognizable and just delightful, even if it was just so out of context and bizarre.
Well, the MP3 was hard to get back then.
So you need a live people. Ba, 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 ba.
Yes,
No.
exactly. Bobo says in chat, John Ford was maybe the best director ever. Oh, okay.
Well, he did some like The Grapes of Wrath and like we watch The Quiet Man almost every year, so he also did that.
I've seen The Grapes of Wrath. That movie is hard. Ugh.
Yeah.
The book's worse.
I've read the book and seen the movie, and they're both bad.
Oh gosh, you're really making a case for me to watch these or read these.
Don't do it.
It won Academy Award. He won Best Director.
Oh, okay, nice. Anything else anyone liked about this?
Oh yeah, I liked how the episode was kind of like a Schoolhouse Rock for how a movie's made. Like, well, they start with and then they do this. It's like, oh wow, it's 1994. I didn't know how any of this worked.
I did like some of the hijinks in that first half. It's like, okay, well, how are we gonna get this movie made? And the marble scene I thought was pretty hilarious.
Okay. Were
Like
they trying to get the director to trip? Is that what they're going
Yes.
for?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I just loved the hijinks behind that, like, and it just didn't, it didn't play out the way they wanted. And
do I have another Young Indiana Jones episode for you? It's called Espionage Escapades, where Indy tries to get a document stamped at all these different offices. It's so fun.
Do not recommend other episodes of Young Indiana Jones. We have to make it through this one first.
I did have to watch a few the previous couple times, but
okay.
I mean, I also liked it because it had been a while since I'd seen an episode, so it was nice to have to see like what the older Indiana Jones was like, versus like the kid.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to get that time jump finally, in which I hadn't been regularly watching these things. But it was fun to see him like play that role, even though the whole Hollywood thing was just so random.
Yeah,
but
very random.
It was fun to watch Sean Patrick Flannery play him.
Yeah. Not River Phoenix was fine. Let's see.
Well, he was kind of dead by then. I think.
That's why I said not River Phoenix was
Thanks
fine.
for
Way to go,
bringing up
Paul.
a sore subject.
Wow. All right. Any last minute ones before we get into things that weren't so good about this? All right, don't everyone talk at once.
We were being generous, Francisco.
I would say the best part about this was that it was better than the last one that I watched. That was my favorite part.
When the credits rolled on this, it was sweet.
Yes,
good.
Because you knew you were finally done. You could ride off into the sunset.
And it's the last one. That's the best part.
That is, that is pretty good. That is
You
pretty
know
good.
what?
Yes.
On that note, it was actually sad. I was sad because this show never got any better.
No, it didn't. Oh my goodness, right? They had that one that felt the most adventurous.
The
I forget.
Peacock's Eye, yeah.
No, what was it? The Peacock's Eye? No, I think
Yeah.
it was where they went to the jungle and all that.
Yeah, it had the worst ending, but
Oh yeah, that's right. It did, but that was the only one. And then the first one, kind of with the first part.
with the mummy not the mummy, the pyramids. Yeah.
Every other one was just so not Indiana Jones.
It wasn't
including
adventure.
It wasn't.
Never got to see any of the good ones, if you can call any of those good.
I think at the end of this, you guys need to do like an actual ranking, like your expert ranking that you've seen all of them, of your
We
best
are
to
experts.
worst, just for fun. That would be really cool.
I'd recommend 3 of them.
Wow.
Of
So maybe
22,
draw a line. Be like those 3, a line,
Yes.
and then the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Into the dumpster fire.
Exactly.
It's the first one, just in case anyone's ever interested. It's the first one.
The first one was good.
And that's the one with the Egypt and the mummy that we were talking about. The one that I enjoyed was with Ford, and I know Francisco, you didn't enjoy that much, but it was a lot of like detective work, and it was them trying to figure out what was going on. Do you remember that with the Germans?
With the engine, they tried to take
the
engine.
engine and the
I watched that one.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I just wished it was flipped. It was actually Nazis and not the oil company that was the whodunit, but
yeah.
And I remember one of the ones that we watched was confusing because it was like out of order or something.
They're all out of order.
This whole court's out of order. So Aaron has been strangely
some required plot element.
No, you weren't. Aaron has been strangely quiet. I'm curious. Is there something what didn't you like about this, Aaron? And was this your first one you've ever seen?
It is my first one I've ever seen, and based on my experience, I probably will not see any of the other ones.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yes.
It just very much did not feel Indiana Jones. I did not particularly like Sean Patrick Flannery's portrayal. I didn't feel, he's not even in the same like ballpark as River Phoenix was.
Oh yeah, River's still better for sure.
Yes.
So, and
He could have been playing a different character.
At first when I saw Indy's love interest, I was excited because I recognized that actress from The West Wing.
Oh, okay, cool.
She was in The West Wing with Rob Lowe. But then it was like, but there's just so many nothing drew me in.
Yeah.
To want to continue. It was like a labor of love for you, Francisco, and you, Paul.
It was.
I feel like it didn't get better till like later in that first plot line. It
yeah,
took a while
the
to
second
get
half was
somewhere.
a bit more interesting, but
Yeah.
this seemed like an episode that should have been maybe in the middle as the break from the adventure or something.
Yeah.
Not the way to end it.
That's,
Ugh.
no,
Yeah.
that's not how you conclude a series. Like it just
Yeah.
felt so out of place, and that was my biggest gripe. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, this doesn't feel like Indiana Jones. What
Yeah.
movie studio is gonna hire this rando college student to
Mhm.
go shut down production and wrap up a film of this like exuberant, eccentric director who's also the star of his own movie, and it just
Yes.
felt so incredibly random. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's making money because he needs to pay for his next year of college, but why is he doing this? This doesn't feel like an Indiana Jones adventure. This feels like this should be something more akin to the Three Stooges than Indiana Jones. It just felt so bizarre, and it's like good on him for only having one love interest instead of three. But it just felt so off. It didn't feel like Indiana Jones. It
Yeah,
felt
right.
like I thought it was cool how like it started off in the movie theater and he was seeing all these movies and how it kind of introduced everything, but it didn't feel like it. And for the series to end this way, it was like
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that bugged me here for someone who has watched all these, he's gone through a lot, like through World War I and a lot of, but he can't tell a guy no.
Yeah.
I mean,
right?
It just doesn't make any sense. Like they didn't go through it would have been great to say, look, to sit Indiana Jones down and say, look, you can't tell him no. He's a great director. We want him to finish it because of, we still need him on, but he only has a week. You can't just like get rid of him. We need to complete it. There was no scene. It was just like, at one point, he's like, I'm going to try to tell him no. And then he gets scared. That doesn't make sense. And then he's like, then all of a sudden he's like, oh no, we have to have him finish it. I'm like, well, where did you get that notion? Because your boss told you to go in there and tell him to stop. And you didn't even do that.
It was just hijinks. It was hijinks ensued, trying to get the production shut down. And then it's like, haha, they pulled the 180 on you. They're down in Mexico and they're still going to go over time and spend all the money. This is why you are fired.
Yeah, it's not a good. I would not recommend this episode.
Can I share if we were doing Tragic Makers?
Yes.
There is one scene that ages so horribly because of like some of the like gun controversy in movies right now. Is when the director goes, he's like when he basically like says like I don't want to use blanks, and I'm like, oh, you're a terrible human being.
All right.
I'm like, you're ready to kill somebody for the fun of it. Like,
Based on current events too. Like we were listening to it. I was
so
like,
bad.
this is a little too close to current events.
I'm like,
yeah.
but I'm still like, wow, this dude is a horrible person.
Here,
but
use
it's
a
even
rifle.
worse.
Here, use a rifle instead of a handgun. You get a better shot. Oh,
It's so terrible.
Oh my word. Well, now what we'll do is we'll just do, instead of a final rating, we'll just say, based on this viewing, and I think Aaron sort of spoke to this already, but we'll go around and say, would you recommend someone see the rest of the series based on this episode? Aaron, would that be a no for you?
Heck to the no.
Heck to the no. All right.
You can waste your time better doing other things.
Avoid. Warning.
Wow. Ashley, how about you?
absolutely not. I've seen several of these, and there hasn't been a single episode that would entice me to see any of them. And if you were to say, "Oh, this is Indiana Jones," people will be like, "In what universe is this Indiana Jones?" So, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
LJ?
Yeah, no. Watching the beginning of The Last Crusade just made me want that even more.
Yeah.
So, like, if there was an alternate reality where we got something much closer to that, or if somebody even tried to take a better stab at this concept, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But it's also not really a needed concept either. So
Yeah.
I was about to say I purposely watched Young Indiana Jones this episode before I watched the Last Crusade because of that.
Oh, I
Knowing
didn't
that.
Oh.
Wow.
Man. I will say I recall sorry, I'm being distracted by you guys in chat. I do recall the young adult, not even young adult, adolescent, the adolescent books of Young Indiana Jones being a lot more thrilling and a lot more adventurous than any of these episodes. But Celeste, what say you?
Well, I'm actually an oddity because I did enjoy this episode.
Yes.
What?
No,
But at the same time, it's not Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I enjoyed watching it. I
Mhm.
wasn't bored. I didn't fall asleep.
I almost did.
Yeah.
But
I definitely did.
but it didn't feel like Indiana Jones to me.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
and honestly, only one of the episodes I've watched has felt like felt like Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
it was
so
the first one for me that felt most like it.
Yeah.
whichever one was the first one I watched, I don't remember.
okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna say no. Because
Okay.
it's not a good representation of the character.
Ooh,
Yes,
she liked
ma'am.
it and still said
Preach.
no.
Danae?
Yep. In line with everybody else, I would not waste. I would say maybe waste 10 minutes just to see how bad it is, so
There
that
you
you
go.
understand the context. But so, like everyone else said, the only reason this is Indiana Jones is because they named the character that. It could have been somebody else's name,
Yep.
and
It was the
been
dog's name.
equally as unlikable. But the fact that it was supposed to be Indiana Jones, it's like the only saving grace, I'm sure, for how they're making money off of it. So
Yeah. Yep.
Name recognition.
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Travis. Oh well, actually Travis. Then we have Paul and me, but Travis, go for it.
I'm gonna give the classic engineer answer, which says which states it depends. So if you're choosing between this and like your 100th rewatch of Tiger King, I might say, give it a shot. Diversify your.
You have a very
experience a little bit.
You have a valid point there.
In other words, no.
Wow.
Valid point. Valid point.
But
Everything else is broken. You can choose Indiana Jones, Young, or Tiger King. This is the red pill or the blue pill. Which do you want?
the 100th viewing of Tiger King.
Wow.
Turn this into a meme.
Wow. All right.
Somebody make that meme.
I'll take that. I'll take that as a no. Just a tepid no.
Yeah.
Paul,
Otherwise,
how
no.
about you?
He's really on the fence, though, if you can't tell.
yeah, I was waiting for the second part to that. Okay. Would I recommend this? No. And I'll go ahead and also give my because I watched the whole series.
Oh yeah.
I'll give my classic maker and tragic maker for the whole series. My tragic maker is that there is more character development in the first 10 minutes of Last Crusade than the entire series of Young Indiana Jones.
So true.
Ouch.
Yes.
How many minutes is that?
Oh, too many.
But on
90
2x
times
speed.
22.
The classic
Dang.
maker is, I think they did a good job of the role of the father. Like if you watch Travels with the Father when they go to Athens,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's a good one.
then yeah, I like how they did that character. Unfortunately, it's not worth investing in the whole series for it, but that's for me.
Well, speaking of that, I don't understand how they never seem to be in Utah anywhere during his growing up time. They're always either out of country or in Princeton, New Jersey. Jersey? I think New Jersey. So when are they in Utah for the events of Last Crusade to happen?
And they have a house.
Oh, that's
they
in
have a house.
between. That's in between. When he was a boy and he was older with Sean Patrick Henry.
Sure. I don't believe it. No.
What do you mean you don't believe it? That's the age range. He was.
They
between the
should
two.
have shown it. They should have shown that.
River Phoenix.
It's like a huge missed opportunity. They've like set up all of these young Indiana Jones snippets in the movies, and they can't even structure a series around that.
Nope.
That's
Right?
pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Ugh.
I blame George.
opportunities. Yeah,
Anyway.
blame him.
So I feel the same way, though, that it's not worth seeing as a series. It's a sad thing that's called Young Indiana Jones. It should be called Young
Bob.
Random guy. Young random guy. Who goes on some
Great minds,
adventures
Ashley.
sometimes.
Great minds.
Exactly.
Who goes on adventures sometimes and hits on a lot of ladies.
Who says he wants to be an archaeologist but never does any archaeology?
Right? Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. All right. So
Ecology.
Exactly.
I love how we just buried this thing.
wow. Well, then that is the end of the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. Did I get it right, Paul?
Yeah.
Awesome. So for me, for Paul, for Aaron, for Ashley, for LJ, for Celeste, for Danae and Travis, we wish you all a whoopah. All right. End of the episode. If any of you need to
Oh, I thought we
use
were
the
supposed to clap. Sorry.
restroom.
On 3.
Oh my gosh.
1, 2, 3.
It was on 3, not after 3.
Ah! If you need to use the restroom or get water, feel free to go do that, and then we'll come back for spiritual speculation.
bathroom.
Or let the cat in because he's pawing at the bottom of the door going, "Meow."
That too, because whatever works for you.
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, fine, Paul. Danae and Travis, are your kids staying asleep okay?
Yes. That's
I'm
what
not
I
being
was
too loud for them.
checking on.
Yes, hello,
Well,
cat.
no.
You are here now.
There's one sleeping.
Aw.
Aww.
This one's funnier because he's covered himself with blankets. Can't see it. It's a pile of blankets.
Yeah.
You see his face.
Yeah, somewhere in there, there's a 3.5-year-old.
Aaron, did you say you're at the church office or your home office?
Church.
Ah,
The
okay.
church office. Yes.
I imagine your kids aren't there with you at the church office.
No. Last time I tried to join in at home, our internet, I kept getting kicked out. Like our internet just couldn't keep up.
That's right.
I think it was because Jake was playing Battlefield while I was doing this. So I just come to the church now because it's easier.
Gotcha.
But Jake's home with the kids.
Well, thank you for making that sacrifice.
Hello,
It's
Very kind of
it's a treat for me to be out and about on a night. So
You didn't have to
awesome.
do bedtime.
I didn't
Winner,
have to do
winner.
bedtime. I didn't have to
Nice.
do bath time.
You could just
Rock
like go
on.
to Target on your way home.
I have to go to Target on my way home.
Yes.
Oh
I
yeah,
need to pick
Danae
up
and
an
Travis.
order.
Yeah. We're in here for that.
Great minds. Great minds.
Oh hey,
I love
yeah,
Target
sorry,
drive
this-
up.
Oh goodness.
How far do you guys live from Creekside? I never get to talk to you.
Like 10 minutes, if that.
Oh,
Like
nice.
7 to 10 minutes. Yeah, we live in downtown Martinez.
Across from the fire station.
Across from the fire station. And it's funny because now that the kids are in school, we hardly see them because they go to school and then I'm here at work. So,
Okay.
but they were our friends in the middle of the height of the pandemic when we had to
Yeah.
stay home for months and months on end. So,
I bet that was exciting for the kids at least.
oh, it was, yeah. Well, and I baked for the firefighters all the time, so they were
Aw.
definitely
Oh.
they were definitely our friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Let's see. So we're going on Travis and Celeste. It looks like okay, cool.
Pay no attention to the cat in the background.
But I want to pay
If you need
attention
to
to it.
start without Travis, he should be back momentarily. If you
Okay.
that'd be okay. He just took our dog outside.
Danae, and if you know for Travis, awesome. Also, do either of you have a spiritual speculation to talk about?
Oh no, I let Paul know. I don't think we came up with something.
Okay.
I mean, we could try to make up something quickly if you
No,
needed
no,
more
no.
topics.
That's
but-
fine. I feel like there's enough here to talk about.
I have one.
So I think we'll be okay.
Yay, Celeste, for having something. I have a half thought. I'm not even going to speak it.
She's got more
And-
practice with it, I feel like.
Yes.
Mhm.
And Paul has something he said.
Yeah,
And,
I would honestly, no joke intended. I would love to really do a deep dive with some people to the pros and cons of the Crusades.
I have that
wow.
That's for
conversation.
Is
another
that what you
time.
wanted to talk about
I
tonight?
would have
No,
that
that's-
conversation, Paul.
Yeah,
Huh?
I would just have to learn more about it.
Yeah,
Actually,
oh,
so
I
too
would
have that
too.
conversation.
I would do it.
But
Crusades
Yeah.
are fascinating.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it as well.
Aaron,
would
you
do
said
it,
you
but not
want
on
to
recording.
lead the conversation tonight with the worship, right?
What?
Something holy grail. No, don't say that. You don't say holy grail, especially
I'm
if it's
kidding.
something and the holy.
Yeah,
No, we don't
right?
say those
Yes,
things.
that's right.
We don't
You
say
hear
those.
that, Soulcast? You don't do
Don't
that.
stir
Not in
that
this
pot.
place.
Don't stir that pot.
Now, if it's something and the Holy Grail, and not on the Holy Grail and the Last Crusade, then yes. You're welcome, Kevin. No problem. We read your comment. And guess who had to read your comment? This guy. Okay, so
No,
everyone's
Holy
back?
Crap is the 5th Indiana Jones movie where he searches for holy crap.
Where they shut down production.
Oh, snap.
Okay, so thumbs up if you're ready for spiritual speculation. I'm seeing. Okay, I'm not seeing your thumb, Aaron. Are you not ready yet?
What? No, I'm good.
Travis, are you
Okay.
ready?
I saw
I thought
his
you were
thumbs.
asking if I had one.
Oh, no.
But are
just
you ready
you're
to discuss?
Ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Welcome, Reflux Capacitors, to another installment of Spiritual Speculation, where we talk about the spiritual themes or spiritual questions that the movies we cover on Retro Rewind Podcast prompt us to think about. Tonight, we're going to be continuing our discussion of the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, spiritually speaking, of course. But before we get into that, let's go around real quick and say what our faith life was like growing up and what we currently believe now. And I'll begin. My name is Francisco. I was raised Presbyterian, which is a Christian denomination, Protestant denomination, and I'm currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian. Let's go to Travis next.
My name's Travis. Let's see. I was raised charismatic Pentecostal Christian, and now I would consider myself a non-denominational Christian.
Awesome. Danae?
I was raised Southern Baptist and now similarly non-denominational Protestant.
Cool. Celeste?
I was raised Southern Baptist as well, Danae, and
Yay.
I am currently a part of the Assemblies of God.
Very good. LJ?
I believe it was some variation of Pentecostal, but my parents weren't practicing as much when I was a kid. But now I am Southern Baptist.
Very good. Ashley?
I was raised Catholic, and now I am a non-denominational Protestant.
Aaron?
I was raised Pentecostal, and the current church I am in is also that maybe more Baptist-costal, like a Pentecostal with a seatbelt, maybe.
Nice. And Paul?
So I was more into the Judeo belief with my dealings with the Ark of the Covenant, but with my dad searching for the Grail, he got hurt, and I actually followed in his footsteps, and I had to believe in order to get the Grail, and I became a believer of Jesus, and I follow him today.
But in Latin,
Was that before or after you found the Ark of the Covenant?
That's after I found the Ark.
Okay.
So many adventures.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a leap of faith from one to the other.
Yes, yes. And somehow more than when you were in your younger days. Anyway, all right. So we're going to start things off with Celeste. What's something spiritually speaking that you thought about, a question you had, or something that prompted you from watching this film?
So I had a moment where the Grail had fallen onto the ledge, and the
From
Nazi
the opening,
lady.
the crack in the opening of the
Mhm.
earth, or
The Nazi
perhaps-
lady was reaching for it, and Indy was telling her, you know, you just need to let it go. And then she ended up dying because she refused to stop reaching for it.
Mhm, mhm.
And then you see the mirrored image of it with Indy, and he doesn't die because he stops and clings to his dad, and he gets
Yeah.
saved.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
it
wow,
was
the
just interesting to
symbolism
me
there.
because as Christians, we're supposed to let go of things of the world. We're supposed to let go of things from our previous life. And if you keep reaching for them, if you keep trying to go after them, you're going to end up sabotaging yourself.
Yeah.
So,
And cling to the Father.
yeah, exactly. So if you
It's
want
a very
to,
literal representation almost.
very literal.
That is
Like, it
so
was
profound.
just
Yeah.
glaring at me. And I'm
Hold
like,
on.
oh,
Hold
fun
on.
stuff. Hold
Little
on.
fly in this ointment.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
But the Grail represents Christ. So are we saying we had to let go of Christ to get to the Father? That doesn't make sense.
No, that's not what she's saying at all. Because the thing is, it's a relic. It's a
It's
relic of
it's a
days
thing.
bygone. It's
It-
a thing, and by letting go of that thing, he is able to cling to his father, and his father is an earthly representation of the relationship that we have. With
And the
Christ.
Grail,
And the relic is an
pursuit-
earthly representation
no,
of
the
Christ.
pursuit, the
relic
pursuit,
is some. Ugh.
the pursuit of the Grail is an earthly ambition.
Well, and you could even take it.
All right.
The
That's
relic itself
fair.
is not important in what
You
she's
could
saying.
even take
Yes.
it to the fact of Henry is having to let go of his lifelong search of the Grail to save his son.
Mhm.
So he's learning what's truly important. He's letting go of an obsession and clinging
Right.
to what is important. to
That's
love.
fair.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You can
that's I was
take-
just
you
trying
can-
to be silly. I
Yeah.
totally got what you're saying.
No, but you can really go after something that's good, like a Bible, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
hug it and cling to it. But if you're just laying there on the ground, clinging to your Bible, starving to death, you're not going out into the world and telling people about it. That's
Anything that is not God can be made into your God and shouldn't be.
Exactly. And it really was a great representation of letting go of the things that are idols in our life, because for Henry, that became an idol. He was always constantly pursuing, like, look at the beginning of the movie where he was actually drawing the picture of the stained glass, and he was ignoring his son, and how it set from the very beginning that this was his lifelong obsession. This became his idol. It displaced other things in his life that should have been more important, and how it impacted the relationship that they had, because his father was always on this chase. And he says that he was a good father. I left you to your own devices. And it's like, they really didn't have a relationship because they were pursuing their own things. And it was only in letting go of this idol, and that it just became so much more. And that can be representative of anything in our lives. If it, like Celeste said, if it's not God, it could be an old sin that you're clinging to. It could be an old obsession that you had. It could be any of those things that become idolatrous in our lives, that take us and distract us away from the Lord.
It could be anything that's good. If you get so busy, a good example we talk about at my church, that we need to be balanced. So if you get so busy doing things for God that you're not spending time with God, you're not feeding yourself, you're not reading your word, you're not taking care of you and your relationship with God, then are you really doing God's work, or are you just playing Christian?
Yeah. And there was something that was said in a sermon at my church not long ago. If the devil can't cause you to stumble, he'll make you busy. And it is just so incredibly true that even if you are doing the good things, if it is distracting you, if it is keeping you astray, that in its sense becomes an idol, even if it is good.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that topic? I think that's a great point, Celeste, you bring up, that it's a representation of clinging to our Father instead of clinging to the things of this world. But any other thoughts from anyone before I have something that I want to jump to based on this whole discussion?
Jump
I guess
away. Take
all
that
right.
leap of faith.
I'm curious. Do you think let's say there was an actual Grail that could give immortality, would it be? Do you guys think it would be
the tree of life,
a righteous thing to go after it? Or
no, because there's a cherub with a flaming sword guarding it.
It's in Eden now, is what you're saying?
Well, that's the tree of life. That's why they were kicked out, and that's why the cherub was there so that they wouldn't eat the tree of life and live forever.
That's fair.
Not
Okay.
to, and they did it defiantly. So
yeah.
So what I'm hearing is, if let's say there was a chalice that could grant you eternal life, it'd almost be a demonic pursuit to go after it.
Absolutely, because the only like immortal thing that matters is our immortal soul and the eternal life that we're given in Christ. And it's not something that we're gonna get by drinking from a man-made chalice. It's not important, and honestly, the concept of living forever is just terrifying. Look at that old
apart
Crusade
from God,
guy.
for sure.
Yeah, because the Crusade guy was left to his own devices. He was protecting the chalice, but he knew that it would lead to people's doom, and that's why he would guard. You chose poorly, you chose wisely, all those things. And it's not meant to be stumbled upon. No one should be pursuing those things.
Yeah.
Well, and if you think about it, we have the option for eternal life through Christ.
Yes.
So pursuing it through any other way
Yeah.
is not good.
Yeah.
He's the way, the truth, the life. The only thing that matters.
Although, if you were longer here, I mean, to live as Christ and to die as gain. So the whole point of being alive is to continue the work of Christ. So if you live forever, you can continue that work even longer.
But who wants to live forever?
Certainly not I.
Well, not with the aches and pains that come with you.
Thank you.
What movie is that from?
Highlander.
Oh yes, of course. Jeez Louise. Thank you, Queen. Were you saying something, Paul?
I was, but Queen took over.
I did. You're not the only one who knows that interrupt.
That's right.
Oh.
Dang.
He's just the master of it.
Yeah, he's just the master.
Well then, also, I'm just gonna bogart this before I kick it over to Ashley or Paul. Do you guys think, what do you make of this legend of the Grail? Do you think it there was a cup that was used at the Last Supper and then also contained drops from Christ's blood on the cross? Do you think there wouldn't have been such a thing? And if there was such a thing, would there be any mystical properties to Jesus' blood if it held it at some point? I know that's lots of questions. Feel free to answer any of them.
My answer is I believe it's possible.
Possible, okay. That there was a cup. All right.
And that it could have granted powers, much like who was it Paul's shadow that would heal people, or was that Peter's? Yeah.
I believe there was a cup, but I think it's a very big stretch to be like, oh, that was also taken to the crucifixion. Like
that's the point
stretch.
that I have issues with.
That's a big fantastical, more like outrageous kind of angle to it.
Right.
Can you imagine someone taking that cup and then literally standing below the body of Christ on the cross as he's dripping blood and just collecting the drops?
Catches blood.
I
It's
catch it.
precious.
Honestly,
it's the precious blood.
when
No,
you
I
think about it
don't-
that way,
I believe
somebody
people are
would
weird.
be, but I don't think it would be with that cup. It would be something else.
Yeah.
It'd
Oh,
be a
that's so-
bathtub. Like
That's
catch
so
it.
morbid.
Let's explore that a little more, though. So, at the Last Supper, he was telling his closest followers, "You have to eat my body and drink my blood."
Exactly.
Like, wait, what?
Someone
And
took the
then
literal
see this happening.
interpretation
I mean,
of that.
Yeah.
those people weren't the smartest group of folks, right? Sometimes, so it seems plausible that somebody would
Or
be
maybe
like,
it was
"Yeah,
an
this is
onlooker that just wanted his blood, like that's
Yeah.
his blood will heal me.
But the blood was still considered unclean for Jewish people. So
Maybe it was non
a Gentile.
Maybe like a Roman or something.
But then
that
how
would
would
be-
the Roman have gotten the cup that was at Passover?
Maybe it was a vampire.
I mean, that's
Wanted to
possible.
live forever.
It's possible, though it's a stretch, and I think that you know, knowing what humans think and their desire to like harness power, it's plausible that someone would think that if I can contain this in this thing, then this thing will somehow be empowered in one way, shape, or form. You know, because as humans, we like to know what a formula is, right? We want to know that, okay, well, this thing is what holds the power, whether it's like, I always think of Moses in the Old Testament, how one time God commanded him to hit the rock to get water to come out of it. And then the next time he commanded Moses to speak to the rock, but Moses hit the rock.
Right.
Because he's like, well, but this worked before. So I'm going to go with what worked before because this is the formula.
Yeah.
And so I think it to me, it's plausible that someone would think, well, I'm going to harness power in this thing, and this is my only way to do it since he's dying.
Yeah.
It's plausible. However, you know, would I be looking around the whole world for it? No.
Well, and it's also plausible because you do have scriptural basis for things being saved, like in the Ark of the Covenant. So
you mean things having
like
powers? What do you mean things being saved?
Things being saved for remembering. So the Ark of the Covenant and the commandments.
Things being stored.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Holding on to something. So I can see
The preservation of things.
That's what I meant.
Not like save, like Jesus saves us. Not that type
No.
Okay.
The preservation of things.
Like saved, like I canned a bunch of jelly and I'm saving it for later. Saved.
Ooh, can I have some?
Yes, preserved. Throw some things in some storage. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, exactly. Tupperware.
The Tupperware
Awesome.
of Christ. Yes.
Oh, guys, I know where the cup came from. So the Roman soldiers, they're casting lots, like doing dice for Jesus' clothes, right?
Right.
They're using their Yahtzee cup, and they just like, oh, let's use this to get some blood.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
What if they had travel Yahtzee though?
It comes with a cup also.
Oh, rock solid theory.
Okay, let's go to Ashley. Did you have a spiritual speculation?
It was a half thought, and it's not worth bringing up.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
in that case, Paul, let's move on to you.
Okay. So there's a line when Dr. Jones is teaching his class at the university. He says, quote, "Archaeology is the search for fact, not truth." And if you're interested in truth, Dr. Therese philosophy class is down the hall.
Yep.
I don't get that because as my Christian background, I automatically think, well, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So if Jesus is not fact, but I'm not exact. Before I Google what that actually means, I'd like to phone a friend and ask you guys, what does that mean? The archaeology is the search for fact, not truth. What do you think that means?
To me, it means that archaeology is the search for tangibility.
Yeah.
You can have things that are truth that you can't touch.
Yeah.
But is it fact truth? Like, I can understand what you're saying is so that fact is not all truths are fact because they're not like tangible,
But all
which is
facts
weird
are
because to me they're both abstract concepts. One you just associate with more concrete things, but
Yeah, like one is observable, one is metaphysical.
Yes.
Like a fact is a observable truth. Other truths like God exists is a
but you
metaphysical
just
truth.
said a fact is an observable truth. That means they're equal.
It's like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
So all truths are facts, but not all facts are truths.
No,
or
all facts are truth, but not all truths are facts. Yeah.
So
because
it's
sometimes truth can also be like something held based on your own perspective and experience. So like what's true for you may not be true for somebody else. It's not a tangible.
So if I say I live in Colorado. That's true for me, but it's not true for anyone else on this call.
No, but it's true for you, but it's true about you, not true for, and that's whether I live there or not, that's still truth. That's still fact. So archaeology is the search for truth through facts.
I would say that sounds more, that sounds kind of true.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, see, even
as
when
a matter,
as a
matter of fact, I don't know.
You know what's coming to mind is the scene in Inside Out where she knocks over the box of facts and opinions and she goes, "Oh, they look so similar."
Yeah.
They look the same.
And I just took it as a throwaway line. I was like, well, some idiot wrote that in the script. Of course it's the same, but maybe I'm the idiot. I don't know.
Well, and it could be... Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Celeste.
I've talked quite a bit. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess I kind of took it as maybe sometime the fact was more of just like this was a cup that we found that's 400 years old, and the search for truth might be also applying meaning to that object. And even in the example of the grail, like this was the holy grail of Christ versus this cup's 2,000 years old. And that's not necessarily archaeology's role is to assign maybe as much meaning and significance to it as we would want.
I guess I'm too literal in the meanings of definitions of words.
Well, if you think about it too, it seems like the journey of this movie was somewhat kind of splitting that hair of facts and truth, right? Because at the end, you know, they've searched for this like physical grail, the fact that it exists, the fact that they know where it is, the fact that it is a humble chalice, and yet the truth is that it's still just a thing.
Yep.
And they have to let it go. And so it's kind of like the movie walks that line to me of the fact and truth, you know, like where there's a physicality of the grail that exists, and yet you cannot, like, there's truth that surrounds the grail that gives the grail context and meaning, if that makes sense.
Yes.
No, you kind of lost me. It sounds like they are splitting hairs for no good reason, but maybe there is. It's beyond me. So
here,
Well,
go ahead.
And
Celeste.
it could be that it was intended to be a statement from a teacher. If you're trying to find this, you're in the wrong class.
Yeah.
But to me, they're the same thing. You're like,
Okay.
if you're looking for A, you want the class down the hall. But if you're looking for B,
Paul,
you're what?
Paul.
Well, because doesn't
Yeah.
he say if you're looking for truth, you need to go to a philosophy class?
Right.
Yes, that's right.
But that's philosophy is not necessarily truth, which
Here, Paul.
again doesn't make sense.
Paul.
It's
I think
subjective. It's completely subjective.
So truth is objective? That's baloney.
Okay, Paul.
What?
Let me ask you this question, okay?
All right.
Maybe this will help clarify it.
That's not a question, but go ahead.
Here's my question.
What's your question?
Can science prove or disprove God?
Yes. If God was in a big cloud up in the sky and they were in a physical representation, they could prove that physically. Like if he was a paper cutout with a hat and a big gray beard, you know, and people were on search for a holy grail.
Him not being those things at present, can you, Paul, right now, where you're at, prove or disprove God with science?
Wait, isn't there a thing like I cannot disprove that there are not invisible pigs flying through the room right now?
Yes, something like that.
So, yeah, I cannot prove it, but I can also not disprove it.
Okay. But you would say that God existing is true, correct?
I would say that, yes.
Science, which archaeology is a branch of, is in pursuit of things you can observe with your eyeballs.
So
and
why
with your
didn't he
senses.
say archaeology is the search for things that you can observe? If you're looking for abstract ideas, Go to the philosophy class down the hall.
rolls off the tongue. Rewrite that.
And I mean, here's the thing. If you want to clearly define archaeology, it is the study of human history and prehistory through the excavation in sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. So it is all about the tangible.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. So it's not for the search for facts necessarily. It's a search for artifacts.
I think it was just meant to be a kitschy line. I think.
I think we wasted too much time on this nonsense.
Paul
If you
needs
ask
to
me.
join that other class, and
it was probably meant to be some kind of profound line that just doesn't.
It's a
connect.
throwaway doo-doo
It
line.
was a throwaway line. It was meant to be something more than it was. Someone thought, oh, if I write it this way, it's going to make people think. But then in the thinking about that quote, you're like, wait a second. That's not that thoughtful at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's doo-doo.
Wow. Well, are there? I can't see. Most of you are just freeze frame for me. I can still hear you, so I can't tell visually if you have something else. But so vocally, please speak up. If there's any other thoughts or things that you guys want to share or questions you had that you want to discuss, feel free. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up here.
I'm wondering if Celeste is hot sitting over that fire.
That's just Louisiana, Paul.
Yeah. It's the heat is on. It is actually not hot in
The
Colorado
heat
today.
is on.
That is
The
just
heat is
Louisiana.
on.
It was 80 degrees today.
Whoa.
That was a represent, and it's going to be 40 tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is
40,
currently-
45 one day and 80 the next.
That's
it's 24 out right now, and it's going to be 44 tomorrow.
I would just
46
need to
tomorrow.
hibernate if it got that cold.
Wow.
It's 24 and clear out
Call
right
me.
now. Lovely.
Well, this has been your weather report from northwest to southeast with Retro Rewind Pod. But thank you all so much for being adding to the discussion tonight for Spiritual Speculation. Thank you all, our patrons, our Reflex Capacitors, for supporting this content. I pray it was informative or entertaining or educational, perhaps, but maybe thought-provoking at the very least. And for Aaron,
Hello?
Celeste, what?
Sorry. I thought Bruce Wayne was calling me. It was me.
On the red phone, maybe.
Yeah.
For Aaron, Celeste, LJ, Ashley, Danae, Travis, Paul, and myself, we bid you all shalom.
That means peace. Hey,
Indeed it
where's
does.
Edna mode.
We didn't have any tonight. That's right.
No, there were a couple where you need to cut in there. Hopefully you won't.
Clap on 3.
There were a couple, but with the Christmas season and everyone was being very generous.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for your generosity of both your time, your insights. It was so fun getting to do this show
Call
with
me
all
when
of
you
you.
get that done. I enjoy our visits.
That's great.
I really want to see what Paul's setup looks like and how he just has all of these just so ready to go. It's
Right.
only gotten better. Like every
So
time
you
I'm
know,
on, I'm like, wow, it's just like a next level of sound effect preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
thank
envisioning a room full of keyboards.
He's like a human version of Bumblebee.
Looks like the Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Oh my.
And he just knows, and it's very well timed. I'm impressed, Paul.
Thank you.
So I'm going to refresh my page so I can see everyone actually moving. So I'll be right back, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
After
right.
this refresh, he'll be right back.
Wait for it.
Everybody
Nobody move.
stop moving.
Everybody,
Yeah, everybody
stay
stay still.
perfectly still.
Yeah.
Stay perfectly still and don't move.
All right. Am I back? Are we here? I think I'm seeing everyone. Oh, it looks like I see Aaron moving. I think I see Paul moving. Danae blinked. You guys are trying to get me. You're all trying to get me. Oh, wait, all of you?
I can't hear him though.
That was great.
Aaron wasn't playing along.
That was great.
My blinks gave me away. Dang it.
You can't hear me, Paul?
But I can't hear him.
I only
Oh.
hear you out of one ear.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
this
that's weird.
again?
Yeah,
Oh,
there
It's
we
left.
are.
It's actually
Right.
switching back and forth
It's
for me.
left this time. It was left instead of right.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, now it's left.
Right, now I switched.
Left,
Now-
left, left.
There, now it should be both.
Yeah.
It should be both now.
Yes, there we go.
Was it like that the whole night?
No.
No.
Okay,
He came
okay.
back.
Oh, okay, good.
You lack discipline.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
What's the
thank you all
matter?
so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're all so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Everyone here in chat, thank you all so much. Bobo, I can't see because I refreshed, so now you're all gone. But Bobo, Cardinal, Neko, I know Kevin was here earlier.
Who are the important people that you remember, Francisco?
Get Dale, Stacy,
and everyone else you don't remember.
And everyone else I don't remember. I'm sorry.
That's
Clearly
right.
no one worth remembering. Sadness.
Thank you all for
Because you
being
were
here.
really focused on hosting.
I was. Yes, I
You
was.
lack discipline.
And apparently I lack discipline. But thank you all so much for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed this live show of Retro Rewind Podcasts. We'll be back in the new year with more live streams of games and more podcasts. But until then, here's your stream face.
So you don't rate anybody anymore?
Not after a podcast.
Why not? Well, why? But you do after streaming, like playing games?